Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Time Travel Simulator. Start with a green dragon fruit. Chapter 71. Da da da. Under their confused gazes, Zhongzhan walked back to them step by step. Little brother Zhongzhan, you. The captain of the military superpower squad, who was the first to come back to his senses, stared, opened his mouth, and looked like he had been deceived. He pointed at Zhongzhan and stammered. Your strength, how could you. That expression, that look, that tone. That's called a deep resentment. It seems to be saying to Zhongzhan, where is the most basic trust between people? I don't know, I thought Zhongzhan was a scumbag who had let down others. Hey, Captain Zhongzhang, I actually wanted to tell you just now, but you didn't give me any chance at all. Zhongzhan scratched his head. Zhongzhang was stunned for a moment, and then he suddenly reached out and patted Zhongzhan's shoulder and laughed. Good boy, you deserve to be a student of Magic University, Okay. Between laughter, his eyes were directed towards the 5 teammates beside him. The faces of the 5 people at this moment were also covered with bright smiles. Although they are Kyushu soldiers, they are willing to sacrifice their lives for Zhongzhan. But, if you can survive, who can refuse? Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. The laughter of the 6 people who had survived the disaster echoed in Zhongzhan's ears over and over again. Seeing them laughing, Zhan couldn't help but have a smile on his face. At this time, roar! A ferocious roar suddenly came from behind. The laughter stopped suddenly. Everyone turned their heads and looked behind them almost at the same time, and saw 3 large ferocious beasts, roaring and charging towards this side quickly. There are 2 low-grade 4th-level ferocious beasts with an energy fluctuation of about 30 W, and a 3rd-order perfect ferocious beast with an energy fluctuation of about 23 W. Suddenly, the originally relaxed and happy atmosphere at the scene suddenly became serious again. Brother Zhongzhan, you should have no problem dealing with a 4th level and a 3rd level beast by yourself, right? Zhongzhang turned his attention to Zhongzhan and said solemnly, the 6 of us, if we cooperate with the battle formation developed by the military, should be able to deal with one of the 4th level ferocious beasts. No need, Captain Zhang, just go and deal with that 3rd level perfect beast, and leave the 2 4th level beasts to me. Hear the words. Zhongzhang was stunned for a moment, then stared at Zhongzhan with a serious face. Brother Zhongzhan, you have to show off your strength. Yes, don't be brave, the other 5 military superpowers echoed. Facing the worried looks of the 6 of them, Zhongzhan felt inexplicably warm in his heart. Zhongzhan can feel it. The 6 of them were sincerely worried about themselves. Obviously before today, they had never met each other, nor had they known each other. Obviously they only spent less than an hour together today. But, they are able to think about themselves so much. This moved Zhongzhan deeply. Don't worry, I know it in my heart. Zhongzhan smiled confidently at them. Soon, he suddenly moved, and faced the 3 ferocious beasts that were charging towards him step by step to kill them. Let's go too. After Zhongzhang took a deep look at Zhongzhan's back, he commanded, try to deal with the 3rd level perfect beast as soon as possible, so that we can go to support little brother Zhongzhan as soon as possible. Yes, Captain, the other 5 people echoed in unison. At this time, one of the military superpowers seemed to have seen something incredible. His eyes suddenly opened and he exclaimed in disbelief, Zhong. Little brother Zhongzhan, he. What's wrong with little brother Zhongzhan? Everyone quickly looked at it intently. Then he saw Zhongzhan quietly turned into a huge green dragon. Under the sunlight, it reflected a heart-stopping green light. What is this? Dragon, this, is this little brother Zhongzhan's true strength? Gulu, if I remember correctly, little brother Zhongzhan is only 18 years old this year, right? As expected of a student of the University of Magic, as expected of a top student of the University of Magic. While the 6 Zhong and Zheng were stunned, Zhongzhan, who transformed into a green dragon, had already charged in front of one of the 4th level ferocious beasts. Ouch! The jet black dragon tail, carrying the power of thunder, swept down fiercely towards this 4th level ferocious beast. This 4th-level ferocious beast is not for nothing. It would not stand there stupidly and let Zhang Zan beat it. But Zhang Zan had a way to stand there stupidly and let himself be beaten. Boom! At that moment when the 4th-level ferocious beast was about to dodge to the left, the conqueror's haki inside Zhang Zan exploded out. In an instant, it had swept through the whole body of the 4th-level ferocious beast. The body of the 4th-level ferocious beast froze. 1 second. Although it only lasted for 1 second, it was enough for Zhang Zan. Let alone 1 second, even half a second is enough. Next moment, snapped. Zhang Zan's jet black dragon tail, filled with the power of thunderfruit, landed hard on the body of the 4th-level ferocious beast. Roar! Under the stimulation of severe pain, the 4th-level ferocious beast suddenly woke up from the shock of Conqueror's haki. But by this time, it's too late. It's too late. At this moment, under the action of terrifying brute force, it rose into the air and flew out upside down. At last, it landed heavily on the ground dozens of meters away. On the way it flew backwards, the terrifying power of thunder swept through its body. Boom! Boom! Amidst the thunder, black scars were burned directly on its body. Especially on the left abdomen where it was hit by Zhang Zan's dragon tail, a giant burnt scar nearly 2 meters long appeared. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Drops of bright red blood quickly dripped out from the giant scar on its abdomen. Hoo! 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 The screams shook the heaven and the earth. That 4th-level ferocious beast looks really miserable, but it did not die directly, but screamed and staggered up from the ground. Sigh, Thunderfruit is not very good. If I had integrated the shock fruit ability just now, one blow might be enough to kill that 4th-level ferocious beast. But this is normal. After all, I just got Thunderfruit, so to thunder the development of fruit is definitely not as good as shock fruit. Yes, Zhang Zan didn't use all his strength in that blow just now. In that move, he only integrated the 3 abilities of Blue Dragon Fruit, Thunderfruit and Armament Haki. He did not integrate the most destructive shock fruit ability. It's not that he doesn't want to, it's that he can't. The energy and physical strength required to explode the 3 fruit abilities at the same time is too much, too much. In Zhang Zan's current state, he can only unleash 2 moves with all his strength, and his energy will be drained. Although 2 moves were enough to kill the 2 4th-level ferocious beasts. But, after 2 moves, Zhang Zan will enter a long period of fatigue. At that time, if another 4th-level ferocious beast or a group of 3rd-level ferocious beasts suddenly appeared, Zhang Zan would be really in trouble. Since 1 stroke is not enough, let me give you 2 strokes. Let me see how many you can bear. Think so. Brush. Zhang Zan quickly killed the injured 4th-level ferocious beast. The level of intelligence of 1st, 2nd and 3rd-level ferocious beasts is actually no different from ordinary animals. But intermediate ferocious beasts of levels 3, 4, 5, and 6 are already quite intelligent, almost comparable to human cubs around 7 or 8 years old. As for the high-level ferocious beasts of the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels, their intelligence is not inferior to humans at all. Although the 2 4th-level ferocious beasts are not of the same race. Usually, they even fight with each other for food. But at this moment, when facing Zhang Zan, a powerful enemy, they chose to join forces without hesitation. Roar! The injured 4th-level ferocious beast quickly retreated toward the rear in a state of embarrassment. And another level ferocious beast suddenly rushed towards Zan from the side. However, in Zhang Zan's eyes, there was only the injured 4th-level ferocious beast. He seemed to have completely forgotten that there was another 4th-level ferocious beast. A few seconds later, Zhang Zan had already caught up with the injured 4th-level ferocious beast. Ouch! The jet black dragon tail carrying the power of thunder swept out. The injured 4th-level ferocious beast subconsciously wanted to dodge. However, it was seriously injured and had no chance to dodge Zhang Zan's desperate, thunderous and lightning-like attacks. Next moment, roar ah ah ah, accompanied by a cruel roar, the dragon's tail fell heavily on it. As blood spattered, the injured 4th-level ferocious beast flew backwards to the doctor. The moment he flew out, its blood-red eyes stared intently at Zhang Zan. His eyes were full of puzzlement and confusion. It doesn't understand. Even to the point of death, you don't even understand it. Why doesn't Zhang Zan hide? Why would Zhang Zan rather take a hard hit from his accomplices than let him go? Why? Why is this? Why exactly is this? In confusion, it saw the claws of its accomplice already on the head of Zhang Zan. Roar ah 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 ah. It suddenly became excited. Die, 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 damn humans, let's die together. In excitement, it's suddenly seen. The human smiled. Laughing. Why is he laughing? He is going to die soon, why is he still laughing? The fourth level ferocious beast's eyes widened. It doesn't understand. It's confused. But, next moment, it understood why Zhang Zan laughed. Because its accomplice swung his paw down and missed it. Obviously that guy is not. No hiding. But its companion's paw was still empty. It was as if it was slapped on a dummy made of air. The claws passed directly through Zhang Zan's body. Why is this happening? With this confusion, the ferocious beast slowly closed its eyes. When it completely lost consciousness and closed its eyes, it suddenly flicked its tail when it saw the guy who killed it. One tail struck hard at his accomplice who was stunned on the spot. Roar, boom, the heavy object falls to the ground. The ground shook suddenly. As expected of the Logia devil fruit, elementalization is really useful when dealing with such ferocious beasts that don't have control over elemental power and only know how to use brute force. Yes, Zhang Zan's ability to dodge the claw attack of the vicious beast just now was the elementalization of thunder fruit. After successfully using elemental transformation to dodge the claw attack of the ferocious beast, Zhang Zan took advantage of its stunned skills and swept out directly. The tail strike with the thunder fruit ability landed heavily on the chest of the defenseless fourth level ferocious beast. How terrifying is Zhang Zan's power in the form of a green dragon. Ribs were broken one by one. The damage is already horrific. Not to mention, there's thunder fruit's thunder attack next. Woo 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 woo. Therefore, after the fourth level ferocious beast landed, it couldn't even get up. Fall to the ground, curled up, they kept making miserable wailing sounds. Sending you on your way. Zhang Zan chased after him without even thinking. Boom, facing its chest, which had most of its ribs broken, was Wolf One Tail again. Gala la la la, gala la la la, its remaining ribs also broke in response. Puff, blood splattered on the spot. So far, 2 fourth-level ferocious beasts died suddenly one after another. And this time, less than 20 seconds passed. Exclamation mark. Zhang Zan's speed is really too fast and neat. They approached the trembling Zhang Zhang and others in the distance as well as the perfect third-level beast. It wasn't until Zhang Zan killed the second fourth-level beast that they reacted belatedly. Come, roar. When the third-level perfect ferocious beast saw this, he immediately panicked. It roared and erupted suddenly, trying to break through the siege of Zhang and others. However, how could Zhang Zhang and others give it a chance to escape? Want to run away? There is no way. Kill. As Zhang Zhang roared, the spear in his hand suddenly stabbed out. The same goes for the other 5 people. Superpowers explode together. The spear instantly pierced the beast's chest. By the time Zhang Zan rushed over, this third-level perfect beast had already collapsed. Brother Zhang Zan, you really surprised us. Zhang Zhang looked at the 2 broken corpses of the fourth-level ferocious beasts in the distance with emotion on his face. Hey hey, Zhang Zan scratched his head and smiled, humbly saying, it's not bad. Zhang Zhang, it's okay. What, is this worth 2 million points? In front of the charred corpse of a fourth-level ferocious beast. Zhang Zan looked at the 3 crystal nuclei emitting mysterious energy fluctuations in his palm, and stared at Zhang Zhang with ecstasy on his face and asked. Although before coming to the crack world, Zhang Zan already knew that the crack world was a very easy place to earn points. But he never expected that points from the rift world could be so easy to earn. Yes, Zhang Zhang smiled and nodded, saying, crystal nuclei are very useful. They can be used to increase the intensity of superpowers, and can also be used to create energy liquids that can quickly restore physical strength and energy, etc. A third-order crystal core has a maximum value of about 250,000 points, and a fourth-order crystal core has a maximum value of about 5 million points. Gulu. Zhang Zan couldn't help but swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and then asked, what about the fifth-order crystal core? A fifth-level crystal core. I once heard the Legion commander talk about it. A 5th level mid-grade crystal core seems to have about 40 million points. Hiss. Zhang Zan couldn't help but take a breath of air. Brother Zhang Zan, you must not be too ambitious. You are indeed very strong. Your performance just now is indeed very powerful. But with your strength just now, let alone deal with 5th level ferocious beasts. Well, even a 4th level mid-level ferocious beast is enough to suffocate you. Seeing Zhang Zan's red face and twinkling eyes, Zhang Zheng couldn't help but persuade him. Don't worry, Captain Zhang, I look like an irrational person to you. Zhang Zan said and asked again, Captain Zhang, where is the 6th order crystal core? I don't know. Zhang Zheng rolled his eyes at Zhang Zan and shook his head. Ah, I don't know. Zhang Zan was stunned. I'm just a 3rd level superpower. How could I possibly know the value of a 6th level crystal core? Zhang Zheng rolled his eyes at Zhang Zan again, and then said naturally. Zhang Zan. After collecting the loot, the group set off on the road again and continued towards garrison number 1. Along the way, Zhang Zan and others encountered 8 waves of vicious beasts. The number of ferocious beasts in each wave is different, ranging from just 2 to as many as a dozen. But what made Zhang Zan feel regretful was that, among these 8 waves of ferocious beasts, there was not even a 4th level ferocious beast. After all, each level 4 ferocious beast has points for movement, and they are at least 500,000 points. Ouch! Zhang Zan kicked a 3rd level perfect beast to the ground on the spot. Soon, he quickly took out a dagger given to him by Zhang Zheng, opened the chest of the ferocious beast, and then took out a 3rd order perfect crystal core from its chest. Get 210,000 points. After casually throwing the crystal core into his space ring, Zhang Zan suddenly let out a long sigh. Oh, I'm about to enter the 20-kilometer safe range of Garrison City number 1, why haven't I encountered it yet? It's a 4th level ferocious beast. The crystal core of a 3rd level ferocious beast, even the crystal core of a 3rd level ferocious beast that reaches the ultimate limit, is only worth 250,000 points at most. But the 4th level ferocious beast, even the crystal core of the 4th level ferocious beast that has just been promoted to the 4th low grade, is still worth 500,000 points. It's twice as bad. What's more, this is just the weakest 4th level low grade beast. Amidst Zhang Zan's sigh, the group of people quickly arrived at Chengwei City. It is different from Guangming City. The management in Garrison City number 1 is not as strict as that in Guangming City. The atmosphere is much more relaxed than that in Guangming City, but it's not that much better. The super-powered people coming and going on the street all looked like they were in a hurry. Their bodies were covered with the smell of blood and killing, making the air of the entire Garrison City number 1 filled with a thick atmosphere of murder. After entering the city, Zhang and Zheng bid farewell to Zhang Zan. After all, they are different from Zhang Zan. They are members of the military, and they cannot move freely at will. This is also the reason why Zhang Zan rejected Zhang Zheng's invitation to join the military. Yes, on the way to Garrison number 1, Zhang Zheng and others sent an invitation to Zhang Zan on behalf of the Guangming City Army after discovering Zhang Zan's unusual desire to get points. According to them, there are a lot of ways and channels to obtain points in the army. After all, don't forget it, every once in a while, the military will conduct a large-scale clearing of the white security area covering more than 6,000 square kilometers. The number of ferocious beasts killed in each clearing campaign was dozens or even millions, and the total points generated were in the tens or tens of billions. After deducting various organizational funds, pensions and other expenses, on average, each military soldier participating in the cleanup activities can easily receive 1 to 2 million points. And because it is a large-scale collective activity of the military, there is almost no danger in the whole process. In other words, those 10 to 20 million points are completely for nothing. In addition, there are many other ways to obtain points in the military. Because Zhang Zan is not a member of the military, Zhang and Zheng cannot disclose them. But according to them, with Zhang Zan's current strength and potential talent, after joining the army, he will definitely be able to easily get a lot of points and training resources. To be honest, when he first heard the stories of Zhang and Zheng, Zhang Zan was moved. Very heartwarming. Whether before or after time travel, Zhang Zan yearned for a military career. But Zhang Zan is not a person who likes to follow rules. He likes freedom by nature, and if he joins the army, he is destined to be unable to be free. So, after thinking again and again, he still rejected Misaki's invitation. Zhongzhan didn't wander around the city for too long. After a brief understanding, he replaced the crystal nuclei used to kill ferocious beasts on the road with energy liquid that could quickly restore physical strength and energy, and hurriedly left Guard City number 1. Joke. Time is money, this saying is no joke. After leaving Garrison number 1, Zhongzhan headed straight towards the yellow buffer zone. Soon, after encountering 3 waves of attacks by level 3 ferocious beasts, Zhongzhan left the 20-kilometer true safety range of Garrison number 1 and entered a dangerous area where level 4 ferocious beasts were most likely to appear. Within a short while, he encountered the first 4th level low-grade ferocious beast. This is a 4th level ferocious beast with an energy fluctuation of around 26 W. A 4th level low-grade superpower or ferocious beast has an energy fluctuation between 25 W and 50 W. The energy fluctuation of this 4th level ferocious beast is only 26 W, which means that its strength is at the bottom among the 4th level low-grade beasts. This is also true. Dragonoid form plus shock fruit ability plus thunder fruit ability plus armament hockey. Boom. That moment, thousands of feet of thunder erupted, instantly enveloping an entire 4th level ferocious beast. Ho 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 ho. Along with the tragic screams of pain, the 4th level Owan was kicked out by Zhongzhan. Boom. It landed heavily on the ground dozens of meters away, directly making a big hole in the ground. Woo 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 woo. After falling, countless thunders are still raging on its body, making it constantly powerful. A few seconds later, he had no breath and died on the spot. I got 520,000 points, and the needle won't poke me. Zhongzhan quickly took out a crystal core from his body with a bright smile on his face. After killing this 4th level ferocious beast, Zhongzhan continued towards the depths of the world. It's no wonder that Kyushu couldn't clear out all the ferocious beasts in the entire white safe area. Because there are too many ferocious beasts in the world of cracks. Too many. Under the influence of the abnormal environment with 10 times the concentration of spiritual energy, the reproduction and growth rate of the ferocious beasts are several times that of the outside world. A ferocious beast cub may only need a few months or even weeks to grow into a 3rd level ferocious beast. Adding in the base of ferocious beasts in the crack world, it is already huge and countless. As a result, hundreds of thousands or even millions of ferocious beast cubs are born every day. No, not long after Zhongzhan went deep, he encountered another group of ferocious beasts. But what makes Zhongzhan feel pity is that this is just a group of 3rd-order perfect extreme ferocious beasts, with energy fluctuations of about 24 W. A ferocious beast in this realm is what Zhongzhan least wants to encounter. Because if he wants to kill them, Zhongzhan must explode with all his strength in the dragon form. And the full power of Zhang Xuanlong's human form can kill some weaker 4th level low-grade ferocious monks. The 3rd level perfect limit and the weaker 4th level low-level beast. The energy fluctuations between the two may not be much different, but the difference is 30 to 40,000 or even 10,000 to 20,000. But the points Zhongzhan could get were more than double the difference. There is some kind of qualitative change between the 3rd level and the 4th level. When 3rd level superpowers or ferocious beasts break through to 4th level, the spiritual power in their bodies will be purified. Although the total amount of spiritual power may not increase much compared to before the breakthrough. But the spiritual power will be more pure. No matter how small a mosquito is, it's still meat. Although in Zhongzhan's heart, he really didn't want to encounter a ferocious beast at the 3rd level of perfection. But after meeting them, Zhongzhan's body was still very honest. Typical verbal and physical integrity. The first time he saw them, Zhongzhan had already stepped forward to kill them. With one kick, one of the ferocious beasts was kicked to death and scorched on the ground. Before the other ferocious beasts could react, Zhongzhan had already killed the second ferocious beast. Still a kick. Amidst the screams, the second vicious beast died suddenly on the spot. Immediately afterwards, there is the 3rd head. And this time, the remaining ferocious beasts finally reacted. They roared and rushed toward Zhongzhan from multiple directions. But Their purely physical attacks have no effect at all in the face of Thunder Fruit's elemental ability. Under the elemental transformation, Zhongzhan easily dodged the combined attacks of the 5 ferocious beasts. Soon, ouch, the dark middle finger flashing with thunder suddenly thrust out. In an instant, the high-speed vibrating finger pistol easily pierced the chest and abdomen of a ferocious beast. What a coincidence! The finger pistol stabbed directly into the crystal core of the beast's heart. The power of shock fruit instantly poured into the crystal. In the core moment, a terrifying explosive atmosphere filled the air from the chest and abdomen of the ferocious beast. Not good. Zhongzhan didn't even think about it. He activated the Azure Dragon Fruit with all his strength, and instantly entered the Azure Dragon form. Next moment, boom, explode. It was as if it had swallowed a bomb in its body. The body of the ferocious beast was instantly exploded. The terrifying explosion shock wave scattered in all directions. The power of the explosion shock wave generated at that moment was almost 30 W of energy fluctuations. Ouch. Under this explosion shock wave with a full 30 W energy fluctuation, the 4 ferocious beasts around Zhongzhan were directly knocked away and landed on the ground dozens of meters away, weak. After wailing twice, he died on the spot. Their situation is actually pretty good. After all, during the explosion, Zhongzhan stood in front of them. Zhongzhan took most of the explosion damage. Rao was the first person to enter the Green Dragon form. It was he who immediately activated Armament Hockey's defense with all his strength. But his body was still covered with blood-red scars from the violent explosion. The impact range of the explosion was not large, only a circle with a radius of 5 meters. But terrifying. Hiss. Feeling the severe pain on his body and looking at the bleeding scars on his body, Zhongzhan couldn't help but take a breath of air. What's the situation? What's the situation? What's the situation? Now, Zhongzhan was completely confused. Have you never heard of a 3rd-level ferocious beast that can self-destruct? Doesn't it mean that only a 5th-level overlord-level ferocious beast will self-destruct when it is in dire straits? And it doesn't mean that it can self-destruct just because it wants to. Self-destruction requires a certain amount of time to guide. In the large pit that was suddenly formed, Zhongzhan's face was full of confusion and confusion. What's going on? Could it be that that ferocious beast is special? But it's just an ordinary wolf-like ferocious beast. In confusion, Zhongzhan tried hard to think about what happened before the explosion. Wait. He obviously thought of something, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Crystal core. It's a crystal core. I remember that I used the finger pistol to pierce the chest of the ferocious beast, and then stabbed it on its crystal core. Could this be the reason that caused the crystal core to explode? But I have never heard that the crystal core can be made into an energy bomb. Zhongzhan was suddenly confused again. Forget it, what's the use of just standing here and thinking about it, why not practice it yourself? If Li Chenjiao can really make the crystal core into an energy bomb. That's awesome. The crystal core of the 3rd order perfection limit just erupted with an explosion shock wave of nearly 30 W. Thinking this, Zhongzhan flashed and quickly jumped out from the bottom of the pit. He quickly dug out the crystal cores from the bodies of those ferocious beasts. Then he started his own experiment. For safety reasons, he remained in the Green Dragon form throughout the process. It must be mentioned here. In the Green Dragon form, Zhongzhan's physique is really terrifying. The 30 W level energy fluctuation explosion shock wave did not cause much damage to Zhongzhan. In just a short time, many of the scars on Zhongzhan's body had healed. After taking several deep breaths, Zhongzhan slowly input the shock fruit's energy into a crystal core. Next moment, Zhongzhan saw ripples like lake water on the hard surface of the crystal core. An inexplicable unstable energy began to take shape rapidly in the crystal core. Not enough. That's right, Thunder Fruit ability. I didn't just use the power of Shock Fruit just now. Thinking like this, Zhongzhan activated the Thunder Fruit ability in his body. With the input of Thunder Fruit's ability, the energy in the crystal core became increasingly unstable. Next moment, brush. Zhongzhan didn't even think about it and stepped back. He just walked off with his front foot. Back foot. Boom. A violent explosion sounded again. The explosion of huge 30W energy fluctuation happened again. Within a radius of 5 meters, it was directly raised to the ground. I am Sao. I am Sao. I am Sao. It can really be done. It can really be done. It can really be done. Zhang Zan was ecstatic. In mind, suddenly, an extremely bold idea came to mind. The crystal nucleus of the third-order perfect limit can erupt with an energy fluctuation of 30W. What if it is the fourth-order crystal nucleus? Cracked world. Garrison City Number 1, west, about 40 or 50 kilometers away. Boom. A loud explosion suddenly sounded. Next, a huge black shadow streaked across the sky, and finally landed heavily on the ground dozens of meters away, directly smashing a huge hole in the ground. At the scene of the explosion, dust was flying. When the dust was flying, Zhang Zan walked out of the dust in a very embarrassed state. Ahem, ahem. While coughing, he strode to the side of the fourth-level ferocious beast that flew backwards and huddled on the ground before it completely died. Ouch! The jet black finger pistol suddenly thrust out and easily took away the life of the ferocious beast. Hey, it's easy to use, it's really easy to use, it's really easy to use. Zhang Zan dug out a shiny fourth-order crystal core from the chest of the fourth-order ferocious beast with a smile on his face, a bright smile on his face. It's decided, from now on we'll call it a crystal core bomb. However, we still have to improve it. Zhang Zan murmured, looked down at himself who was covered with bruises, and frowned slightly. The power of the crystal core bomb is strong, but it will also cause damage to myself when it explodes. Although in the dragon form, my physique is I can completely withstand the explosion of a third-level perfect crystal core bomb, but if it is a fourth-level crystal core bomb, I will definitely not be able to withstand it. It would be great if we could improve it a little and turn it into a delayed bomb type. With this in mind, Zhang Zan simply took out a third-order crystal core from the space ring and started testing it. The power of shock fruit is slowly input into it. Next, comes the power of thunder fruit. However, the power of thunder fruit had just entered it, and the energy in the crystal core suddenly became extremely chaotic. Damn it! Zhang Zan subconsciously wanted to throw it out. However, it's too late. It's too late. Boom! A violent explosion resounded through the sky. Come again. I don't believe it. Zhang Zan lowered his head and glanced at the scars on his dragon body, his face full of determination. Soon, he took out another third-order crystal core and poured the power of shock fruit and thunder fruit into it. Then, boom, the explosion sounded again. No, no, no. After another attempt to develop a delayed crystal nuclear bomb failed, Zhang Zan emerged from the dust generated by the explosion with a look of embarrassment. He frowned and shook his head as he watched the large crater formed by the explosion. We can't continue like this. It's too wasteful. Each third-order crystal core is worth hundreds of thousands or even more than 200,000 points. We can't just waste it. Good steel must be used on the blade. That's it. While muttering, Zhang Zan tidied up and then continued to go deeper into the world of cracks. Within a short time, Zhang Zan encountered two low-grade fourth-level ferocious beasts. The energy fluctuations emitted by them are about 33W. The moment he saw them, Zhang Zan didn't even think about it. He took out a third-order perfection limit crystal core from the space ring with his backhand, then transformed into a green dragon and rushed toward them. Regarding Zhang Zan's arrival, these two fourth-level ferocious beasts, which were leaning against each other, were extremely angry. It was as if Zhang Zan's appearance had disturbed their good deeds. Roar! Amidst the angry roar, the obviously larger fourth-level ferocious beast jumped up menacingly, and took the initiative to attack Zhang Zan. 5 meters, 4 meters, 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meter. Seeing its ferocious mouth, it was about to bite Zhang Zan. Suddenly, an extremely unstable energy fluctuation suddenly emitted from Zhang Zan's dragon claws. 24W, 25W, 30W. In an instant, the unstable energy fluctuation soared from 24W to 30W. This moment, the blood-red pupils of the male fourth-level ferocious beast shrank suddenly. Haven't waited for any reaction from it. Boom! A violent explosion occurred immediately. A terrifying shock wave came oncoming. What a coincidence! This fourth-level ferocious beast just opened its bloody mouth. The terrifying and chaotic explosion shock wave poured directly into its body along its mouth. Moment. Blood splattered. No matter how powerful this beast is, it is only a 4th level beast. It is not a 5th level ferocious beast overlord. Because it has absorbed a large amount of spiritual energy, the fragile organs in its body have also been washed away by the spiritual energy and become extremely tough. Under the explosion shock wave of up to 30 W, the throat of this 4th level ferocious beast was instantly penetrated from the inside out. Boom. The next second, it fell heavily to the ground. The breath dissipated quickly. Oh, it still doesn't work. Every time I input the power of Thunder Fruit into the crystal core will be detonated instantly. Why is this? Zhang Zan muttered, and took out a 3rd level perfection limit crystal core from the space ring with his backhand. Practice makes perfect. Maybe it's because I'm not skilled enough. Think so. Brush. Zhang Zan's figure flashed, and he quickly attacked and killed the 4th level ferocious beast that was still lying in the distance and unresponsive. It wasn't until Zhang Zan rushed in front of it that it reacted belatedly. Quote exclamation mark quote. CDDB. Just as it opened its mouth to roar, it felt an extremely chaotic energy wave suddenly emitting from Zhang Zan's claws. Next second, boom, the sound of explosion resounded through the sky. Ooh, under the violent shock wave of the explosion, the 4th level ferocious beast flew out directly and landed on the ground dozens of meters away. His body was dripping with blood. But it did not directly lose combat effectiveness. It jumped up like a carp and quickly climbed up from the ground. Obviously, a crystal core bomb with 30 W energy fluctuation cannot cause enough fatal damage to a defensive 4th level ferocious beast with 33 W energy fluctuation. One shot is not enough, then two. Anyway, there are level 3 ferocious beasts everywhere here. With this thought in mind, Zhang Zan took out a 3rd order crystal core and charged towards the 4th order ferocious beast. Boom, boom. After 2 consecutive explosions, the 4th level ferocious beast died on the spot. Ahem, it still doesn't work. What's going on? Why does the crystal core explode as soon as Thunder Fruit's energy is input? Zhang Zan's breath fluctuated slightly. In the blue dragon form, although Zhang Zan's defense is very high, he can resist attacks with energy fluctuations of around 30 W. But he had just resisted 4 times in a short period of time. No matter how high or strong his physique is, no matter how high or strong his defense is, he can't withstand such a dense explosion. This time, Zhang Zan did not continue, but rested in place for a while, and only recovered after taking an energy liquid worth nearly 1 million points. No, we can't go on like this. Even if I am in the form of a divine dragon, I can't withstand the explosion of the crystal core at the 3rd level of perfection. But if I don't continue to experiment and try, I will never be able to do it. A crystal core bomb capable of delayed explosion. Thinking of this, Zhang Zan couldn't help but frown. Headache. Zhang Zan felt extremely painful all of a sudden. Whether or not a crystal core bomb with delayed explosion can be produced is a very important matter for Zhang Zan. After all, a crystal core at the 3rd order perfection limit can erupt a shock wave with an energy fluctuation of up to 30 W, so there is no doubt about it. The power that the 4th level crystal core can explode after being filled with the energy of shock fruit and thunder fruit is definitely more terrifying. Zhang Zan even doubted it. The detonation of the 4th order low-grade crystal core is just the power that explodes. It may be able to harm the 4th order mid-grade ferocious beast. A 4th level mid-grade ferocious beast, even the weakest ferocious beast among the 4th order mid-grade ferocious beast, the crystal core on its body can be worth millions of points. Of course, this is just Zhang Zan's guess. Although Zhang Zan has a 4th order crystal core in his body, he doesn't dare to use it for experiments. The crystal cores at the 3rd level perfection limit are enough for him to eat a pot. Zhang Zan doesn't think he can withstand the explosion of the 4th level crystal nuclei. Headache, headache. Zhang Zan had a headache for a while. Between headaches, suddenly an idea flashed in his mind. Patting the back of his thigh, his eyes suddenly brightened. No. Right. Am I a fool? Why do I have to use 3rd order high-grade or even perfect crystal nuclei for experiments? Why don't I use 3rd level supplies or low-level crystal nuclei for experiments? The power generated by the explosion of the third level and low-grade crystal core is only about 170,000 to 80,000 energy fluctuations at most, right? I can easily resist it. Silly, 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 silly. I am really stupid. Just do it. Zhongzhan did not continue to head towards the depths of the crack world. He started hunting ferocious beasts about 50 or 60 kilometers away from garrison number 1. Because this location is relatively close to garrison city number 1, there are basically no ferocious beasts above level 5. After all, the intelligence of 5th order overlord level ferocious beasts is already very high. They already know how to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. They know very well that if they get close to a human city, they will be mercilessly hunted by the masters in the human city. Next, Zhongzhan spent the whole day frantically hunting ferocious beasts. In one day's work, more than 100 ferocious beasts died in his hands. Among them, most are third-level ferocious beasts, and a small part are fourth-order ferocious beasts. Zhongzhan kept all the third-order high-grade, third-order perfect and fourth-grade crystal nuclei, and all the remaining third-order and low-grade crystal nuclei were used by Zhongzhan for experiments. The total value of these crystal nuclei used by Zhongzhan for experiments is at least 10 million points. However, after an afternoon, Zhongzhan still failed to develop the delayed crystal core bomb as he wished. However, Zhongzhan was not discouraged. Continue tomorrow. Before the sun set in the crack world, Zhongzhan hurried back to garrison number 1. The world of cracks in the wild. The wild world is much more dangerous than during the day. When Zhongzhan left garrison number 1, he was warned by the superpowers from the military at the door, telling him to come back before the sun set. Because, after the sun sets, a blood moon will appear in the cracked world. Under the illumination of the blood moon, all the ferocious beasts in the crack world will become extremely bloodthirsty and crazy, and their combat effectiveness will increase by at least 30%. Not only that, in the wild at night, there will be many 5th order overlord level ferocious beasts approaching and appearing around the 3 garrison cities. After returning to garrison city number 1, Zhongzhan first went to the point exchange office in the city and exchanged most of the crystal cores on his body for training resources. Although he had been busy all day, Zhongzhan did not waste the night time. Arriving at the small house that he rented with 1 million points, Zhongzhan started practicing in a hurry. With the help of draconian form, in about an hour, Zhongzhan had absorbed all the cultivation resources that he had earned after working hard for a whole day. But Zhongzhan did not stop because of this. Although he did not have the assistance of spiritual herbs and elixirs, Zhongzhan's cultivation speed was still very fast under the blessing of an environment with 10 times the concentration of spiritual energy. It wasn't until 12 o'clock in the evening that Zhongzhan stopped practicing. After spending 10 seconds practicing the Nenkaimeng meditation method, Zhongzhan fell asleep in a hurry. Early the next morning, as soon as the sun was shining, Zhongzhan could not wait to leave garrison number 1 and start a new day of hunting. That's all. Days and time pass quickly. Days passed day by day. Blink. 10 days later, garrison number 1, outside the city, about 60 kilometers away. On top of a small hill, Zhongzhan grabbed a third-order mid-grade crystal core and quickly input the energy of shock fruit and thunder fruit into it. Under his exquisite control, the vibration energy of shock fruit and the thunder energy of thunder fruit were not mixed together at the first time. Instead, they each occupied half of the crystal core area, and each with the energy of the crystal core in that half area. A strong reaction occurred, causing the energy in the crystal nucleus to quickly become chaotic. Next, Zhongzhan violently threw it forward and threw the crystal core in his hand. The moment Zhongzhan threw the crystal core out, he no longer continued to control the distinct vibration energy and thunder energy of the crystal core. So, the two energies, which had lost Zhongzhan's restraint, began to gather rapidly. The energy in the crystal core is becoming more and more chaotic, more and more chaotic. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds later. Energy chaos reaches ultimate. Boom! The crystal core suddenly exploded, raising the surrounding space within 3 to 4 meters to the ground. It's successful, ha 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 ha, it's successful, it's a success. When Zhongzhan saw this, he immediately raised his head and laughed. Ecstasy. Endless ecstasy suddenly swept through his body. For 10 days, he went out early and came back late every day just for today. After these 10 days of hard work, in order to develop a crystal core bomb that could delay explosion, he had to consume at least about 40 million points worth of crystal cores every day on average. Added up, that's 400 million points. If he uses these 400 million points on himself, it can completely increase his energy fluctuation by about 3 to 4,000, allowing him to completely stabilize at the lower level of the main level. I don't know how powerful the 4th level crystal core bomb can be. Thinking of this, Zhongzhan's heart suddenly started to stir. He hurriedly took out the space ring and took out a 4th order low-grade crystal core with an energy fluctuation of 30 W. He then began to neatly input the energy of shock fruit and thunder fruit into the 4th order crystal core. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. In an instant, Zhongzhan had successfully input the energy of the 2 fruits. Then, after taking a deep breath, Zhongzhan fiercely threw out the 4th order crystal core in his hand. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 30 W, 35 W, 40 W, 45 W. 3 seconds after the 4th order crystal core flew out, the energy chaos value inside reached its peak 45 W. FKU. Feeling the chaotic energy fluctuations of up to 45 W in the 4th order crystal core, Zhongzhan's expression suddenly changed. Without thinking, he immediately entered the green dragon form and retreated suddenly towards the rear. Next breath, boom, suddenly exploded. The terrifying explosion shock wave hit Zhongzhan in an instant. Fortunately, Zhongzhan was about 30 or 40 meters away from the center of the explosion. So, he was just knocked away by the shock wave. Boom. After landing, Zhongzhan got up immediately. Looking at the huge pothole in the distance, the expression on Zhongzhan's face gradually became perverted. The crystal core, which originally had only 30 W energy fluctuations, actually exploded with 45 W energy fluctuations, a full increase of 50%. It was not in vain that I spent 10 days, and it was not in vain that I spent 400 million points. It's so fierce, this is too powerful. If I can find a way to get a few more 4th order mid-grade extreme or 4th order high-grade crystal cores, I might have a chance to blow up the 5th order ferocious beast guarding the spiritual tree. Thinking of this, Zhongzhan's eyes suddenly turned to the northwest. Eyes twinkling. What's in that direction? About 20 kilometers in that direction, there is a hilltop, which is the territory of a 5th level overlord level ferocious beast. Zhongzhan discovered it 6 days ago when he was chasing a ferocious beast that was at the lowest level of the 4th level. Originally, at this stage, Zhongzhan, even if he discovered it, it was absolutely impossible for him to have bad intentions. After all, it is a 5th order overlord level ferocious beast. The energy fluctuation of the 5th level overlord level ferocious beast is at least 250 or more. What is this concept? An absolutely terrifying concept. To know, even if Zhongzhan hits with all his strength in the blue dragon form, he can only unleash an attack with an energy wave of about 50 W at most. An attack with a 50 W energy fluctuation level fell on a 5th level overlord level ferocious beast. At most, it could only scratch the opponent's itch. Let alone a 5th level overlord level ferocious beast. With an attack of 50 W energy fluctuation level, even if you want to deal with a 4th level mid-level ferocious beast, it will be difficult. With Zhongzhan's strength, even if it sneezes, it might be able to easily kill Zhongzhan. In fact, that day, Zhongzhan really almost fell into a trap. But luckily, the 5th level overlord beast seems to be a pure power beast, and does not seem to be the kind of beast that is good at using elemental energy. In addition, it seemed to be guarding something. It just threw a boulder towards Zhongzhan from a distance and did not pursue him. So, Zhongzhan was able to use the elementalization of Thunderfruit to dodge the boulder, which was even as fast as a meteorite falling from the sky, and successfully jumped out of the territory of the 5th Order Song Dynasty Overlord level ferocious beast. It is precisely for this reason that it was targeted by Zhongzhan. After all, Zhongzhan never thought of himself as a pot-bellied person. On the contrary, he has always considered himself a very stingy person. Just, in those 2 days, Zhongzhan traveled through the simulation twice and successfully obtained observation hockey, making the limit range of his observation hockey reach an astonishing 2,000 meters. Then, Zhang Zan discovered the reason why the Fifth Order Overlord level ferocious beast never left the mountain. Because, on the top of that mountain, there is a spiritual tree growing. On the spiritual tree, there are 5 spiritual fruits that are about to mature. Although Zhang Zan didn't recognize the spiritual fruit on the spiritual tree. But, from the fact that the 5th level ferocious beast was guarding the tree, Zhang Zan could easily deduce that the 5 spiritual fruits were definitely not simple. As expected, that night, after Zhang Zan returned to Garrison City No. 1, he found the resources for the 5 spiritual fruits from the album at the Resource Point Exchange office in the city. Those 5 spiritual fruits are 5th level spiritual fruits. In the crack world, a world with an unusually strong concentration of spiritual energy, 5th level spiritual fruits are not uncommon. Therefore, logically speaking, the value of 5th level spiritual fruits is actually not high, with an average value of about 1 to 20 million. But, those 5 5th level spiritual fruits are not ordinary 5th level spiritual fruits, but 5 5th level super fruits. Super fruit is quite rare. The market price of a 3rd level super power fruit in the outside world is a full 5 million, and it is also an officially controlled resource. There is a price but no market. The external market price of a 4th level super fruit is 50 million. They are also officially controlled resources and have a price but no market. As for the 5th level super power fruit, the external market price is 500 million. The reason why the super fruit is so expensive is not only because it is very rare, but also because it is very powerful. Unlike most spiritual grasses and spiritual fruits, it only has the effect of assisting cultivation. But, super powers are different. The special energy contained in the super power fruit can promote the spontaneous growth of super powers. What does that mean? It means, after eating the super power fruit, the intensity of your superpower will be increased while the effect is in effect, without the need to practice. 5 5th level super fruits. Those are 5 5th level super fruits. For an extremely rare spiritual fruit like the super fruit, the real purchase or sale price is much higher than the market price. And there are more than just a few. According to the information Zhang Zan found at the Resource Point Exchange office in Garrison City No. 1. In the Bounty Hall of Garrison City No. 1, there is a bounty mission issued by a 7th level venerable. The content of this bounty mission is that he is willing to purchase superpowers of level 5 or above at a price that is 20% higher than the market price. What does it mean if it exceeds the market price by 20%? Mean, he was willing to spend 600 million to buy the 5th level super fruit with a market price of 500 million. If it's 5, that's 3 billion points. 3 billion. That's 3 billion points. Just ask, can Zhang Zan not be moved? Although Zhang Zan is a very vengeful person, he is also a very stable person. Before he has the absolute strength to kill the other party, logically speaking, Zhang Zan is absolutely unwilling to continue to provoke the other party. But nothing. The temptation of 3 billion points is really too great. Too big, too big. Cracked world, somewhere. Boom, 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 and, ouch. Along with 3 terrifying explosions, a brutal roar resounded through the sky. Immediately afterwards, ooh, ooh, in the terrifying hurricane of more than 10 levels, a huge ferocious beast suddenly flew out from the center of the explosion. As it flew out, bright red blood continued to pour out from its body. On the way to fly out, the aura of this huge beast dissipated quickly. But, its bloodshot eyes were staring at the center of the explosion the entire time. In his eyes, besides confusion, he was still confused. It can't figure it out. It really can't be understood. It can't figure it out no matter how hard it tries. The energy fluctuation emitted by the human being who transformed into a strange creature was obviously only about 25 W. But, why was he able to unleash a terrifying explosion attack with a main energy fluctuation of around 70 W in an instant? Why? What exactly is this for? Why is this happening? It is puzzled and unwilling. Extremely unwilling. If you can take precautions, with your 4th level mid-level perfect state, 370 W energy fluctuation level attacks are not enough to cause fatal damage to you. But it happens. At that time, I had no defense at all. He is just a 4th level low-level superpower who is looking for death. He dares to actively attack himself. He is really looking for death. You can kill him with just one paw. But, so why exactly? Why can that weak human being burst out with such terrifying power? Boom. Finally, the 4th level middle grade perfect ferocious beast landed heavily on the ground hundreds of meters away, directly creating a huge crater on the ground. Boom, boom, boom. The entire ground trembled suddenly, and dust suddenly rose everywhere. Its body was dripping with blood. On its most fragile abdomen, there is a huge scar of blood. Its breath is getting lower and lower. But that's the case. But it still stared into the distance with its blood-red eyes wide open. His eyes, which were gradually losing focus, were full of unwillingness. Finally, its head tilted and it died completely. Shortly after it died, a black shadow flew quickly from a distance. Finally, he landed in front of the corpse of the 4th level mid-level ferocious beast. The limit of the 4th level mid-level, it's nothing more than that. After Zhang Zan looked at the corpse of the ferocious beast with a smile, he quickly took out its crystal core from its body. The energy fluctuation of a 4th order mid-grade extreme crystal core is about 85 W. If this crystal core is used as a crystal core bomb, the increase will be 50%. Zhang Zan quickly calculated in his mind. Soon, he couldn't help but take a breath of air. 130 W. This crystal core of the 4th order mid-grade limit is made into a crystal core bomb, which can almost erupt an explosion shock wave of 130 W energy level. Hiss, 130 W energy level. The ferocious beasts of the 4th order high-grade limit, their energy fluctuations, the highest is only 130 W, right? Doesn't this mean that if the 4th level high-grade ferocious beast is like this 4th order mid-grade ferocious beast and has no defense, just this crystal core bomb will be enough to kill it? Even if you can't kill it, you can at least blast it into a severely disabled state. Thinking of this, Zhang Zan was suddenly eager to give it a try. He couldn't wait to find a ferocious beast that was at the top level of the 4th level and try it out. But, at last, after taking a deep breath, Zhang Zan still held back. Ha, you can't be impulsive, you can't be impulsive. Impulse is the devil, impulse is the devil. Just in case, I'm going to prepare a 4th level mid-grade crystal core bomb. Just in case, couldn't blow it up. Although Zhang Zan is very eager to get those 5 5th level super fruits. But, he didn't want to lose his life because he was too eager. In everything, it's better to be on the safe side. After leaving the scene, Zhang Zan quickly explored the surrounding area. With the help of observation hockey, Zhang Zan can easily find the target he wants to hunt. So, in less than 10 minutes, Zhang Zan successfully found the second 4th level mid-level ferocious beast. The energy fluctuation level of this ferocious beast is much smaller than the one Zhang Zan discovered just now, only about 70 W. So, Zhang Zan only used 2 4th order crystal core bombs with an initial energy level of 40 W to successfully blow it up. Although the energy level of this 4th level mid-level ferocious beast is much smaller than the previous one. But, the look in its eyes when it was killed was very similar to the previous one. The blood-red eyes were full of confusion, unwillingness and grievance. It doesn't have a very high IQ, so it really can't figure it out. Why is it that Zhang Zan, a guy with only 25 W energy level, can burst out 260 W level attacks in an instant? Why exactly is this? Accompanied by an unwilling cry, the ferocious beast took its last breath. The second 4th order mid-grade crystal core is obtained. Zhang Zan looked at the crystal core in his hand and smiled brightly. 3 days. In order to deal with the 5th level low-grade overlord level beast, Zhang Zan worked back and forth for 3 days. Within days, his cultivation almost completely stagnated. 3 days later, outside garrison number 1, about 90 kilometers northwest. Under a hill, a figure quickly approached. This person is clearly none other than Zhang Zan. That's almost it. It's been 10 days since I last saw those 5 immature super fruits. According to the graphic information at the Resource Points Exchange office, those 5 super fruits are almost ripe. Zhang Zan muttered, restrained all his aura, and then began to sneak towards the top of the hill little by little. Because this hilltop is the territory of a 5th level overlord level ferocious beast. So, On the top of the hill, none of the first 3 or 4 levels of ferocious beasts can be seen. In a short time, Zhongzhan had successfully reached the mountainside. And now, observation Haki has also been able to detect the situation on the top of the mountain. Observation Haki gushes out quickly. Then, after detecting the situation on the top of the mountain, Zhongzhan was stunned. A face full of astonishment. I'm sorry, what's going on? Why are there 4 5th order overlord level ferocious beasts on the mountain? Zhongzhan was stunned. But he didn't remain stunned for long. Soon, Zhongzhan came back to his senses. After coming back to his senses, Zhongzhan's face did not show pessimism. On the contrary, there was a strong look of joy on his face. Zhongzhan breathed a sigh of relief and patted his chest gently. Fortunately Laozi is smart, fortunately Laozi is witty enough, fortunately Laozi is stable enough, fortunately Laozi. I changed my mind temporarily and just in case, I spent 3 days preparing 8 perfect 4th order crystal nuclei. Otherwise, if I had only prepared 2 perfect 4th order crystal nuclei according to the original plan, I would have suffered. If 2 4th order perfection level crystal cores explode and the bodies of the 4 5th order overlord level ferocious beasts overlap, it will be difficult to blow up all 4 of them, but 8 can. It's different, let's see if I don't blow you up directly. Speaking of which, a 5th level low-grade crystal core, even the 5th order low-grade crystal core with the lowest energy level, is worth 10 million points, right? If there are 4, it is 4,000. Looks like I'm going to post it today. P.S. In Chapter 73, the value of the 5th order mid-grade crystal core is wrong. The author Yang's numerical calculation is wrong. It should be 4,000 W points. It has been modified. Thinking of this, Zhongzhan's breathing quickened. Bully. What really excited Zhongzhan was not the 40 million. Even if Zhongzhan is short of money, it is absolutely impossible for him to sell the 4 5th order crystal cores. Joke. Make it into a 5th level crystal core bomb and keep it as a trump card. Isn't it delicious? Zhongzhan didn't know, just when he was very excited. On top of the mountain, the eyes of the 4 5th level low-grade overlord level ferocious beasts that were crawling in front of the super fruit tree had been opened. Why are 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th level ferocious beasts collectively called ferocious beasts, while 5th order ferocious beasts are labeled with the word, overlord? Because, starting from the 5th level, the mental power of the ferocious beasts has become very huge, even comparable to that of human superpowers of the same level. How powerful is the mental power of a 5th level superpower? After mastering the Nianwang or similar mental power detection ability, you can even detect images 4 to 5 kilometers around. Although these 4 overlord level ferocious beasts do not have the ability to master the Nianwang. But, their mental power detection range is at least 2 to 3,000 meters. So, the moment Zhongzhan reached the mountainside, the moment they were captured in Zhongzhan's observation Haki, the 3 of them have also discovered Zhongzhan. But, none of these 4 overlord level ferocious beasts had any intention of talking to Zhongzhan. After opening their eyes, the 4 of them looked at each other fearfully, and then their eyes were fixed on the super fruit tree in the center of the mountain top about 50 meters away. As for why they all ignored Zhongzhan, the reason was actually very simple. Very simple. Because, for them, Zhongzhan is too weak. Too weak. Too weak. In their eyes, Zhongzhan is just like an ant in Zhongzhan's eyes. Especially in order to contain his aura and energy fluctuations as much as possible, Zhongzhan did not enter the dragon form or the blue dragon form. He is now in his human form with the lowest combat effectiveness. In human form, his energy level is only over 29,000. Not even 3W arrived. Just ask, how could those 4 5th level overlord level ferocious beasts with energy levels around 2.8 million care about Zhongzhan, whose energy level was only 1% of theirs? In their view, they can kill little bugs like Zhongzhan with just one breath. So, they didn't take Zhongzhan seriously at all. Their attention at the moment was all focused on the super fruit tree in front of them. The 5th level super power fruit. That is a 5th level super fruit. If they can take the 5th level super fruit, the benefits to them will be quite huge. Due to the sudden increase in spiritual power of the 5th level ferocious beasts and above, most of them will awaken various superpowers like humans. Because it is a superpower that has just been obtained, the effect of the superpower fruit will be particularly powerful. Zhongzhan didn't know that he had been discovered by the 4 5th level ferocious beast overlords. At this moment, he was slowly climbing towards the top of the mountain with a high level of mental strength. A little. Zhongzhan walked very slowly and carefully. But this is just a small hill. From the mountainside to the top of the mountain, it is only 2 kilometers in total. In less than 10 minutes, Zhongzhan had successfully climbed to the natural platform on the top of the mountain. At this moment, he was only 200 meters away from the 4 ferocious beast overlords, and 205,000 meters away from the super fruit tree. Zhongzhan did not take action immediately. Because the 5 super fruits on the tree are not yet fully mature. It will take some time before they mature. Zhongzhan hid behind a big tree, stuck his head out, and took a selective look at the super fruit tree. He compared it with the information he read at the Resource Point Exchange office. Come on. Look at that posture, it will definitely mature before the sun goes down. Thinking this, Zhongzhan silently clenched his fists. Then, it's time to wait patiently. Wait and wait. Time passes quickly. Blink. The sun has already reached the western sky. While waiting, Zhongzhan also secretly observed the 4 ferocious beast overlords. They had their backs turned to themselves the whole time. They stared at the super fruit tree in front of them the whole time. Like a statue. Pass quickly. As the sun sets little by little, the originally green leaves on the super fruit tree begin to turn yellow quickly. It's time to mature. When Zhongzhan saw this, he clenched his fist suddenly and held his breath. It starts with the first leaf turning yellow. In less than 10 seconds, the originally lush trees had become bare. The green leaves on the trees all turned into golden fallen leaves and fell to the ground. On the entire tree, only the 5 super fruits that were about to mature were left. The last 20 seconds. About there. Thinking of this, Zhongzhan immediately clenched his fists. He was just about to stand up from behind the tree and charge towards the 4 ferocious beast overlords. And this time, one of the ferocious beasts, the overlord, flicked its tail toward where Zhongzhan was hiding. Woo! A terrifying hurricane suddenly hit Zhongzhan. Really, they have indeed discovered me a long time ago. Zhongzhan had already made a guess in his mind a long time ago, guessing that they had discovered him. After all, they are 5th level ferocious beast overlords. Their mental power is comparable to that of 5th level superpowers. You are only 200 meters away from them, how could they not notice you? Zhongzhan originally wanted to come up first to take a look at the ripeness of the super fruit, and then stay away from the mountain as soon as possible, and come over when the super fruit was about to mature. Result: he never expected it. The 4 ferocious beast overlords ignored him at all. Zhongzhan directly entered the elemental state of Thunderfruit's ability without even thinking about it. After dodging the hurricane, he charged straight towards the 4 ferocious beast overlords. He originally thought that on the way to the past, he would be attacked or blocked by the 4 ferocious beast overlords. However, until Zhongzhan rushed behind them, none of them took action against Zhongzhan. Because those 5 super fruits are almost ripe. None of them were willing to waste any more energy on Zhongzhan, whom they considered an ant. That's all. Zhongzhan arrived at a position about 2 meters behind them very smoothly and dramatically. At this moment, there are still 3 seconds left before the 5 super fruits mature. Zhongzhan didn't even think about it, and directly took out the 8 4th order perfection level crystal nuclei with an average energy level of 190 W from the space ring. Then, crazily pour the energy areas of shock fruit and thunder fruit into these 8 4th order perfect crystal cores. In an instant, the energy in these 8 4th order perfect crystal nuclei began to become chaotic. At the same time, the energy level began to increase rapidly. 180 W, 190 W, 200 W, 210 W, 220 W, 230 W, 240 W, 250 W, 26 W, 270 W, 280 W. Almost in the blink of an eye, the chaotic stars in these 8 4th order crystal nuclei have reached their peak. Zhongzhan stretched out his hand and threw the 8 fourth-order crystal nuclei evenly behind the 4 ferocious beast overlords. A fierce beast with 2 stars behind it. Then, the whole person is instantly transformed into a dragon plus an element. Using the strength of sucking milk, he rushed straight towards the overlord Kulu who was directly in front of him. Because it was elementalized, Zhongzhan passed right through the body of the ferocious beast overlord, heading straight towards the super fruit tree. And this time, the 4 ferocious beast overlords have also reacted to the chaotic energy fluctuations coming from behind that are enough to threaten their lives. However, haven't waited for any reaction from them. Boom, 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 boom. 8 horrific explosions occurred simultaneously. 8 deafening explosions sounded simultaneously. The sound of explosion shook the heaven and earth. That moment, countless dazzling rays of light erupted from the top of this mountain, directly overshadowing the light of the setting sun. The terrifying chaotic shock wave instantly hit the back of the 4 ferocious beast overlords. Ooh-ho-ho-ho-ho-ho. Whoa, 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 whoa. Roar ah 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 ah. The brutal roars of the 4 ferocious beast overlords sounded almost simultaneously. Amid their roars, huge cracks were torn open on their backs by chaotic explosion shock waves. The skin was burned instantly. Next, there is the flesh and blood under the skin. At the same time, the sky within a few kilometers suddenly darkened. Then, a huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky. The chaotic explosion shock wave generated by the crystal core bomb is inherently much more lethal and destructive than the ordinary attack shock wave. Very many. The reason is simple. Because the explosive shock wave it generates, under the influence of shock fruit and thunder fruit, brings the special properties of the abilities of these 2 fruits. Shock fruit's ultimate shock and thunder fruit's high energy particles. The combination of the 2 creates an explosion shock wave and chaos when the crystal core bomb explodes. What is the concept of 8 chaotic explosion shock waves with an energy level exceeding 2 million? It's as if the earth is shaking and the mountains are shaking, it's as if the sky is falling apart and the earth is cracking. The whole mountain shook violently. No 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 no. It's not just this mountain. The ground with a radius of at least 5 to 6 kilometers or even 7 to 8 kilometers was trembling violently. The entire mountaintop was directly cut off by a 033. The scene was filled with smoke and dust. A few minutes later, the aftermath of the explosion quickly subsided. And at this time, there was silence on the top of the mountain where a section had been cut off. 4 corpses of ferocious beasts, dripping with blood and about the size of young men and elephants, fell motionless to the ground. There was no breath at all, and he was obviously completely dead. But their huge blood-red eyes were still wide open. Die with your eyes open. They die with their eyes open. Although they are dead, one can still easily read the strong confusion in their eyes. Why is this happening? That damn little ant, what on earth did he do? Why no Sister Lee, they are really not like Sister Lee. In silence, suddenly, a rustling sound started to sound. Immediately afterwards, the body of the huge ferocious beast in the middle suddenly moved slightly. Immediately afterwards, an extremely embarrassed figure crawled out from the corpse of the ferocious beast overlord. This person is clearly none other than Zhongzhan. At this moment, Zhongzhan's condition is very bad. His face was pale, his breath was weak, and his whole person looked shaky and dying. He looked at the 4 bodies of the ferocious beast overlords on the ground in front of him. Watch and watch. A bright smile suddenly appeared on the pale and weak face. Ha 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 ha. Immediately afterwards, Zhongzhan threw his head back and laughed. The laughter is so crazy. The laughter is so rampant. The 5th level overlord is nothing more than this, ha ha ha. Between laughter, the intensity of Conqueror's haki in Zhongzhan's body suddenly increased. Haki spontaneously burst out of Zhongzhan's body. In an instant, a kilometer radius was covered. The superpower fruit was successfully obtained, and these 4 5th level overlord beasts were also successfully killed. Now Conqueror's haki has improved a level further. Zhongzhan turned back and took out a super fruit from the space ring. After admiring it for 2 seconds, he threw it back, then felt the sudden and powerful Conqueror's haki in his body, smiling brightly. After being happy for a while, he gradually recovered. Oops, the sun is going to set. If you don't hurry back, Something will happen. Looking at the last rays of the sunset, Zhongzhan's expression suddenly changed. After he neatly took out the crystal cores from the 4 5th level overlord ferocious beasts, he gulped down the spiritual liquid that he had redeemed and stored in the space ring in advance, and hurried towards the number 1 garrison city. Go. But he had just reached a location about 60 kilometers away from garrison city number 1, when the sun in the crack world completely set. The sun had just set, a blood moon, and then it rose. The bloody moonlight fell down. Suddenly, a thin layer of blood-colored mist spread across the cracked world. Roar, roar, quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. That moment, the roars of countless ferocious beasts came and went. Damn it, Zhongzhan's face suddenly darkened. He continued to head straight towards garrison number 1. But, fortunately, along the way, there were no near misses. With the help of observation hockey, Zhongzhan quickly entered a safe range of 20 kilometers from garrison number 1. However, just when Zhongzhan was about to breathe a sigh of relief, the worst thing still happened. His observation hockey captured a terrifying ferocious beast overlord with an energy level of nearly 4.5 million, attacking from Zhongzhan's rear at an extremely fast speed. In less than a few seconds, the terrifying ferocious beast overlord can pass by where Zhongzhan is now. Avoid it. Absolutely not. The speed of that ferocious beast overlord was too fast. Too soon, too soon. Damn it. Zhongzhan's face turned ugly for a while. Now I can only hope that the ferocious beast overlord doesn't take me seriously. For the ferocious beast overlord with an energy level of up to 450 W, Zhongzhan, whose energy level is less than 30 W, is simply an insignificant ant. This is the same as when humans look at ants. Only people who are really idle would pay attention to and kill an ant crawling on the ground, right? Say so. But there are a lot of idle people in this world. Therefore, Zhongzhan cannot guarantee 100% that the ferocious beast overlord will ignore him and let him go. No, 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 no. If I'm not afraid of 10,000, I'm afraid of just what if. What if that ferocious beast overlord has murderous intentions towards me? Strike first to gain strength, strike later and suffer disaster. Just in case, I must take control of things. Think of this. Zhongzhan's eyes suddenly became sharp and sharp. Zhang Shuang has never been the kind of person to place his hopes on others. He is a typical self-centered person. So, even if there was only a 1/10 chance that the 5th level ferocious beast overlord attacking from behind would not pay attention to this little ant, he was not willing to gamble. Zhongzhan couldn't accept the feeling of putting his life in the hands of others. No, no, no. Not to mention 1/10, even 1%, Zhongzhan couldn't accept it. Your own destiny must be in your own hands. With this in mind, Zhongzhan silently took out the 4th and 5th order crystal cores from the space ring. The 5th level ferocious beast overlord, right. The energy level is 4.5 million, right. Let's see if lousy doesn't blow you up today. Zhongzhan muttered, silently clenching the 5th order crystal core in his hand, with a ferocious look on his face. I don't care if you killed lousy casually when you passed by. Anyway, lousy will kill you this time. Holding the 5th order crystal core tightly in his hand, Zhongzhan suddenly turned around. Facing the direction of the ferocious beast overlord behind, he took the initiative and rushed over. Garrison number 1, west, north, about 20 kilometers away. A huge bull-shaped ferocious beast was galloping forward quickly. Suddenly, its eyes suddenly flickered slightly. Its vast spiritual power captured Zhongzhan, who was flying towards him quickly. Ha, weak human ants. It was the same as the 4 5th level ferocious beast overlords that were killed by Zhongzhan before. It was also the same as Zhongzhan's guess. This bull-shaped ferocious beast overlord did not take Zhongzhan seriously. It doesn't take a while. Zhongzhan was only a dozen meters away from it. Seeing Zhongzhan still actively approaching him, a strong feeling of displeasure suddenly emerged in the heart of the ferocious beast overlord. It suddenly moved in the direction of Zhongzhan and exhaled sharply. Boom! Suddenly, a hurricane with an energy level of 3 to 400,000 swept towards Zhongzhan. Roar! Zhongzhan entered the green dragon form without even thinking. With the powerful defensive power of the green dragon form, it is hard. Braving this terrifying hurricane, he quickly arrived in front of the giant ferocious beast overlord. At the same time, Zhang Zan's physical strength was rapidly depleted. Along with the exhaustion of physical strength, a large amount of shock fruit and thunder fruit energy 23 was consumed by him. Crazy and rough, it poured violently into 2 of the 5th order crystal nuclei in his hand. In an instant, Zhang Zan's complexion, which had just recovered a short time ago, turned pale again. The reason is simple. If you want to chaos the energy in the 5th order crystal core, you need to input a huge amount of shock fruit and thunder fruit energy. Crazy and rough. After violently pouring the energy of the 2 fruits into it, Zhang Zan threw it directly on the spot. I'll blow you up. Soon, the whole person suddenly transformed into elements, passing through the body of this 5th level ferocious beast overlord, and came to the other side of its body. The whole process is smooth and skillful and will never take more than a second. No. Not to mention a second. At most, it only lasts for 0.5 seconds. All of this started when Zhang Zan poured shock fruit and thunder fruit energy into the 2 5th order crystal cores, and then when Zhang Zan passed through the body of the ferocious beast and ran to its body. The whole process only took 0.5 seconds. What? Why come here? This is not nonsense. Zhang Zan doesn't want to die. These are 2 level 5 crystal core bombs. Theoretically speaking, these 2 crystal core bombs can erupt an explosion shock wave of 4 to 5 million energy levels in an instant. How could Zhang Zan have withstood such a terrifying explosion shock wave if he only relied on his own body? What he is doing now is the same as how he killed the 4 ferocious beast overlords before. The reason why Zhang Zan was able to survive 8 crystal core bombs with an energy level of up to 3 million was entirely thanks to the huge beast overlord. If it hadn't used its own body to block the shock wave generated by the explosion for Zhang Zan would have died under the terrifying shock wave. Back to business. Zhang Zan's front foot had just reached the other side of the huge bull-shaped beast overlord body. Back foot. The chaos value in those 2 crystal core bombs reached its peak. And this time, the bull-shaped ferocious beast overlord, who had never taken Zhang Zan seriously, finally came to his senses. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark question mark quote. What is this? What happened? What's going on? Its roar was only halfway through. It hasn't had time to react. The energy fluctuations in the 2 crystal nuclei have skyrocketed from 250 W to 400 W. However, boom, boom, they explode almost simultaneously. That moment, the originally dark night suddenly became brighter. Countless rays of light soar into the sky. The sky within a radius of several thousand meters was illuminated by the bright light produced by the explosion. The ground with a radius of 7 to 8 kilometers trembled suddenly. Even garrison number 1, 20 to 10 kilometers away, could faintly feel some earthquakes. The terrifying chaotic explosion shock wave scattered in all directions. Wherever you go, not a blade of grass grows. Everything within a radius of 4 to 500 meters was instantly annihilated. Woo 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 woo, woo 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 woo. The wind howled incessantly. The violent energy flow hit the body of the bull-shaped ferocious beast overlord, and in an instant, holes were torn open on the left side of its body. The turbulent flow of energy flows quickly into its body along these openings. Roar ah 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 ah. The brutal roars were endless. And this time, garrison number 1, on top of the towering city wall built of special spiritual steel. A figure was looking into the distance with a worried face. She looked to be in her early 20s and was wearing tight clothes. He wears a chic combat uniform and a simple ponytail. His whole body was filled with a capable smell. The sun has almost set for more than half an hour. Why hasn't my junior brother come back yet? The girl frowned and muttered, then suddenly turned to the military superpowers who were guarding the city gate during the day and asked, "Are you sure about my little junior brother? When we set out during the day, we were facing west. To the north, are we going to the yellow buffer zone between Kyushu and the 9th level Bull Emperor Beast?" Yes, the leader of the 5th level military superpower team nodded and said, he has been heading there every day for the past half-month. He left the city just after dawn in the morning, and then he didn't come back until evening. He continued for half a month. It's been like this every day for months. Plus his energy level is only about 2.5 W, and he looks like he has just broken through the 3rd level of low grade, so I pay so much attention to him. He continued. I know he is a student of your demon university, so every time he goes out of the city, I will take the trouble to remind him to come back before the sun sets. He nods to me every time, and I have done it every time, but this time. Is there something wrong? The girl frowned, her face full of worry. I have already patted my chest in front of the teacher. I promised to take good care of him. If something suddenly happens to him now, how can I tell the teacher? Explain. I'd like to ask, who is your teacher? The captain of the military's 5th level superpower team couldn't help but ask. Fengsho. As soon as the girl finished speaking, the exclamation of the military's 5th level superpower team leader immediately rang out. Fengshu, could it be that 9th level emperor from your school? Yes, the girl nodded. A sound of air conditioning was sucked in suddenly. The 5th level superpower captain of the military was just about to speak. Suddenly, west, north direction, far away, a dazzling white light suddenly lit up. Immediately afterwards, boom, boom, boom. The ground shook slightly. And then, woo 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 woo, woo 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 woo. A strong gust of wind came. Suddenly, Garrison Number 1, which was originally quiet due to the arrival of night, suddenly became lively. What happened? What happened? 5th level energy fluctuations. In this formation, there are at least 3 5th level superpowers fighting. Could it be that our 5th level superpowers from Kyushu are fighting against the 5th level ferocious beast overlord? Hurry, go and have a look. Suddenly, brushing. Inside the city. 7 or 8 figures rushed out quickly, heading west outside the city. Rushing towards the north. Garrison Number 1, west and north of the city, 20 kilometers away. Black smoke curled up. Dust filled the air. A large crater with a radius of at least 100 meters suddenly appeared on the ground. The bottom of the giant pit. Ooh, a huge barbarian bull, the 5th level ferocious beast overlord, was lying in a pool of his own blood, dripping with blood, and kept making painful whines. Scream, what the hell, I didn't even scream at all. With a pale face, Zhongzhan crawled out from under the body of this ferocious beast and overlord with great weakness and reluctance. After muttering, Zhongzhan kicked its body angrily. Tap. Under the reaction force, Zhongzhan suddenly staggered back 2 steps, but the body of the ferocious beast overlord did not move at all. Zhongzhan's expression suddenly became unnatural. That's not true. That's not true. How unreasonable. How can it be repaired? How can it be repaired? How can it be repaired? He couldn't even kick a dying beast overlord. What a shame. I can't bear it. I can't bear it. I can't bear it. Zhongzhan's fists clenched suddenly. Who? The pitiful cry of the overlord, the bull-shaped ferocious beast, was still ringing. Scream. After Zhongzhan glanced at it, he easily took out the last bottle of spiritual fluid left in the space ring. Tons. 3 mouthfuls. The energy and physical strength that Zhongzhan consumed were quickly recovered. After all, this bottle of spiritual liquid is the one at the bottom of the box. Joke. 1 bottle costs almost 1.5 million points. This level of spiritual fluid is generally only taken by 4th level high grade or even perfect superpowers. For someone like Zhongzhan, whose energy level in the green dragon form is only over 25 W, don't waste it too much. Waste is indeed waste, but the effect is really good. All of a sudden, Zhongzhan was left empty-handed. Shu's body has recovered about 60% and is still recovering rapidly. After recovering his energy, Zhongzhan immediately turned his attention to the ferocious beast next to him. Speaking of which, this ferocious beast overlord can really resist, and its skin is so thick. It took 2 5th level crystal core bombs in one go, and it's not dead yet. Zhongzhan said, stomp, twice, and suddenly jumped to the bloody left abdomen of the ferocious beast overlord. Then, his pupils shrank suddenly. What kind of healing speed is this? Before you know it, most of it has been healed. No, we have to kill it immediately, otherwise something will happen later. Thinking this, Zhongzhan immediately took out the specially made dagger. The high-speed vibrating dagger swung down and landed on its left abdomen, where it touched the mostly healed scar. Danglanglang. However, the special dagger containing the energy of shock fruit failed to pierce its flesh. I don't believe it. Zhang Zan took a deep breath. Within the body, shock fruit energy quickly poured into the dagger. Buzz buzz. The dagger suddenly vibrated at high speed. Subsequently, Zhang Zan once again stabbed the wound on the left abdomen of the 5th level ferocious beast overlord with the dagger. However, now, a ray of earth-colored light suddenly emitted from its left abdomen. Clang! Zhang Zan felt as if he was stabbed on an extremely hard piece of steel. The whole person, under the reaction force, staggered back 2 steps again. Damn it! Zhang Zan frowned immediately when he saw this. At this moment, Zhang Zan noticed a look of disdain. Turning around, he looked into the huge blood-red eyes of the 5th level ferocious beast overlord. The blood-red eyes of the 5th level ferocious beast overlord were full of disdain. It seemed like he was mocking Zhang Zan for overestimating his abilities. It seems to be saying, "You, a little ant, want to hurt this beast." Nima, sensing the contempt in its eyes, Zhang Zan suddenly became angry. In addition, he could feel that the aura of this ferocious beast overlord was recovering rapidly. So, without thinking, Zhang Zan took out another 5th order crystal core from the space ring. What does this little ant want to do? The ferocious beast overlord suddenly felt a deep sense of confusion in his heart. Immediately afterwards, next second, a chaotic wave that was extremely familiar to him suddenly spread out from Zhang Zan's hands. The pupils of this ferocious beast overlord suddenly shrank. CDDB. In his mind, he couldn't help but recall the sudden explosion just now. 300W, 350W, 400W. Feel the chaotic energy fluctuations soaring sharply in the crystal core. An inexplicable feeling of uneasiness instantly swept through the body of this ferocious beast overlord. And this time, Zhang Zan suddenly raised his head and grinned at it. Let's go. Immediately afterwards, under its blood-red pupils, Zhang Zan threw the crystal core filled with chaotic energy straight into its eyes. This moment, its pupils suddenly shrank. Its breathing was sharp and heavy. Its body shuddered involuntarily. Quote exclamation mark 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 quote. It endured the pain and exhaustion all over its body and wanted to get up from the ground. However, its body is really too weak because of its weakness. Even if it tried its best to feed, it couldn't get up. Not to mention, even if you get up, what's the use? Roar, boom, impossible. This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Finally, amid its unwilling roar, the 5th order crystal core bomb suddenly exploded. Countless light and heat swallowed its head instantly. It was already at the end of its strength. The reason why he was able to resist the dagger wielded by Zhang Zan was because Zhang Zan was too weak. The explosion of this crystal core bomb was just a chaotic shock wave, which was on the same level as it was in its heyday. The sky that had just darkened suddenly brightened again. Shock waves filled with high-energy particles scattered in all directions. In an instant, he had already arrived in front of the 28 Kyushu superpowers who came from Garrison City number 1 to check the situation. What a chaotic energy fluctuation. I heard the roar of a ferocious beast. Whether it's our 5th level ability users fighting against the ferocious beast overlords, or the ferocious beast overlords from different Imperial beast forces fighting, judging from the intensity of their battles, they have already shown real fire. We are going there now, just in time. You can use it to your advantage. Among the Kyushu superpowers who came over, the girl who was on the city wall was staring brightly ahead, her eyes twinkling thoughtfully. In the energy fluctuations, there is the power of vibration. My junior brother seems to have mastered a special secret technique that can produce high-frequency vibration waves. Could it be that my junior brother is here? Thinking like this, she shook her head violently. No, no, no. How is this possible? Zhao Linwan, what are you thinking in your mind? Junior brother, he is only at the 4th level of low-grade strength. If he appears there, he will really be dead. Those ferocious beast overlords can kill him with just one sneeze. Little junior brother, you must not be over there, please, you must not appear over there. The center of the explosion. The bottom of the giant pit. Zhang Zan staggered out from under the body of the 5th level ferocious beast overlord. He immediately set his sights on this ferocious beast overlord. Seeing that the ferocious beast overlord had most of its head blown off in the violent explosion, Zhongzhan suddenly grinned and started laughing. Under the scarlet moonlight, it looked particularly uneven. I made you look down on me. I made you look down on me. I made you look at me like that. I made you have no choice but to run towards me. You asked for it. Zhongzhan cursed and picked up the specially made dagger again. He staggered and climbed onto the chest of the ferocious beast overlord. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. After recovering some physical strength, Zhongzhan suddenly stabbed the dagger into its chest. This time, because the ferocious beast overlord was completely dead, it could no longer tighten its flesh and blood as before, so Zhongzhan's dagger finally penetrated successfully. But the stabbing was still very reluctant. Even if he is dead, this guy is still so tough. Zhongzhan's brows suddenly frowned. If you say you want to die, then you can die. Why don't you take out your crystal core first? Can't you be more conscious? You have to make me spend so much effort. Zhongzhan muttered, and the shock fruit ability quietly emerged from his body. Buzz buzz buzz. The dagger in Zhongzhan's hand suddenly vibrated at high speed. Come again. Next moment. Ouch. Along with the loud sound of breaking through the air, the dagger fell quickly. PFF'd. Just like a cutting machine. The high-speed vibrating dagger easily pierced the chest of the ferocious beast overlord. Suddenly, blood spattered on the spot. Weren't you awesome just now? Didn't you look down on me just now? Why is there no movement now? Zhongzhan muttered proudly, raising the vibrating dagger in his hand high again. Swing up, fall, swing up, fall. Countless blood spattered out. He didn't notice it at all, while he was swinging his dagger hard at the dead 5th level ferocious beast overlord. Brush, brush, brush. Behind him, one after another, figures appeared quietly. That guy, that's not it. The 5th level military captain who was talking to Zhao Linwan on the city wall before saw Zhongzhan standing on the corpse of the giant bull-shaped beast at the bottom of the pit, waving a dagger vigorously. The whole person. He was suddenly startled. Immediately afterwards, he stretched out his hand suddenly and rubbed his eyes in an extremely exaggerated manner. After rubbing it vigorously several times, he looked towards the bottom of the pit again. Then, his whole body suddenly froze for a moment. His face and eyes were filled with disbelief and disbelief. This is not over yet. After being stunned for a second, he suddenly stretched out his hand, pinched his thigh hard. Hiss. A sharp pain suddenly swept through his body. Not a dream, not a hallucination, all of these. It's all true. It's all true. Because Zhongzhan in human form had an energy level of just over 2.5 W in the Northern Song Dynasty, he was a low-level ghost in the main level. Because Zhongzhan has been leaving early and coming back late every day for the past half-month. So, this 5th level military superpower squad leader remembers Zhongzhan's appearance very clearly. He is sure the person below standing on the corpse of the 5th level ferocious beast overlord is Zhongzhan. That's why he's so unbelievable. It's not just him. The other 7th, 5th and even 6th level superpowers who ran out of garrison number 1 were stunned when they saw the scene at the bottom of the pit. What is this? What is going on? Weren't there a few 5th level beings fighting fiercely here just now? Look at the initial wave of energy. There are at least 3 5th level people fighting in the melee, right? Except for the body of the 5th level ferocious beast overlord at the bottom of the pit, where are the other 2 5th levels? Where have you gone? Shouldn't it? We came all the way and didn't notice any other 5th level people leaving. By the way, there are more. What's going on with that 4th level low grade kid below? Just when everyone was confused. Hey. Zhongzhan was still waving his dagger vigorously. Soon, he dug through the chest of the ferocious beast overlord and took out the crystal core under the chest. Grab the core. Zhongzhan straightened his back. With the help of the blood-red moonlight, after looking at it, a smile suddenly bloomed. His smile gradually became brighter and brighter. Soon, his initial joy gradually turned into pride. Whoa. At last, Zhongzhan suddenly raised his head and let out an extremely proud laugh again. the limit of the 5th level low grade is nothing more than this, nothing more than this, wah, ka, 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 ka. Zhang Zan's proud laughter echoed over and over again in the scene, echoing in the ears of Zhao Chuan and the other 8 people above the sun crater. When he heard Zhang Zan's triumphant show-off, Zhao Linwan and the other 8 were once again stunned. What does it mean? Is the limit of the 5th level low-grade product nothing more than this? What does this mean? After a brief daze, an extremely bold and absurd guess came up in the minds of 8 people almost at the same time. 0. Damn it. Is it hard to say? The 5th level low-level ferocious beast overlord below was killed by the 4th level low-level imp. Think of this. The distracted eyes of the 8 people quickly woke up and locked directly on Zhang Zan. After watching it for 3 seconds. This is impossible. How can this be? This is absolutely impossible. The 8 people almost simultaneously rejected the ridiculous guess they had just come up with. But he was really the only one at the scene. Everything within a radius of 400 to 500 meters has been raised. Except for him, there is no other living thing alive. And on the way here, we didn't sense the departure of any 5th level ferocious beasts or superpowers, right? This, what on earth is going on? All of a sudden, in the minds of the 8 people, besides confusion, they were still confused. While they were stunned in confusion, Zhang Zan had thankfully recovered from his complacent state. After throwing the dagger and crystal core into the space ring with great ease, he turned around and was about to sprint and jump out of the huge pit. However, as soon as he raised his head, he was met with 8 pairs of piercing eyes. My country, what's the situation? Zhang Zan was immediately frightened to death by them. Under the bloody moonlight, there was silence at the scene. After a brief silence, brush, 8 people, including Zhao Linwan, jumped down from above one after another. Swish, 8 people fell from the sky and landed next to the body of the bull-shaped 5th level ferocious beast overlord. The whole process, the eyes of the 8 of them were all focused on Zhang Zan's face. Can't take my eyes off it. Stare. It wasn't until they landed that the 8 of them quickly glanced at the body of the ferocious beast overlord. When they saw the bloody and ferocious wounds on the body of the ferocious beast overlord, their pupils shrank one after another. But, immediately afterwards, next second, the eyes of the 8 of them were once again focused on Zhang Zan. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds later. The only 6th level superpower among the 8 people suddenly said, "This little friend, what exactly happened here? Listen to what you just said." It said. He couldn't help but cast his eyes on the old and tragic 5th level ferocious beast overlord beside him. Recalling Zhang Zan's proud words just now, he swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said again, It was the one you killed. Dead. Sure enough, I was heard. Zhang Zan sighed slightly in his heart. Never mind, now that it's been discovered, let's be discovered. Thinking this, Zhang Zan met the bright eyes of the 8 people and nodded, yes. Call, hear the words. The 8 people's breathing suddenly became heavy. Do you really mean what you say? The 6 superpowers stared and asked. I'm sure. Zhang Zan nodded again without hesitation. The words just fell. Aside, the captain of the military's 5th level superpower team who had been talking to Zhao Linwan suddenly stood up, with a low voice and a serious face, and said, Zhang Zan, you must think clearly about killing a 5th level ferocious beast overlord. It's just a reward of 50 million military merit points. Although 50 million military merit points is not a small amount, you are the proud son of the Demon University, and you are also a disciple of the Emperor. There is no need for you to bear the stain of your life just for these 50 million military merit points. Quote, Our Guangming City military is very repulsive to those who are greedy for merit. If anyone, from the 3rd level to the 7th or even 8th level king, dares to be greedy for merit, our Guangming City military will definitely not those who tolerate it will not only take back double the military merit points issued to him, but will also expel him from the crack world and put him on the blacklist. Unless there are special circumstances, that person will never have the opportunity to re-enter the crack in his life, world. After finishing this long paragraph with serious words, the 5th level captain of the military opened his eyes wide, stared at Zhang Zan, and asked word for word, Now, I can give you a chance to change your story, even if you know that you are greedy for merit. After the serious consequences, you still have to insist that you killed this 5th level bull overlord. Yes, I'm sure. Facing his extremely serious gaze, Zhongzhan nodded directly without even thinking. Okay, then let me ask you again, what evidence do you have, any evidence will do, to prove that you killed this bull overlord? He then asked. Zhongzhan, it's not that I don't want to believe in you, it's not that I don't want to believe in you, the proud man of heaven, it's not that I don't want to believe in the Emperor Feng, but it's actually your strength and this wild bull overlord, the difference is really too big, not just me, I am afraid that even your senior sister will not believe what you just said in her heart right now. As he said that, he turned his attention to Zhao Linwan who was standing aside. Zhongzhan looked over subconsciously and met Zhao Linwan's somewhat apologetic gaze. So, Zhongzhan, do you have any evidence? He asked word for word. Before Zhongzhan could speak, he spoke again, if you don't have evidence, it doesn't matter. After all, we don't have evidence to prove that you didn't kill this bull overlord. However, there is one thing I must tell you. Please make it clear that our Guangming City military cannot release the 50 million military merit points for killing this 5th level bull beast to your account. Hearing this, Zhongzhan suddenly raised his hand. What's your problem? The 5th level superpower from the military asked. What are military merit points? Can I still get military merit points by killing the 5th level ferocious beast overlord? I am not from the military. Zhongzhan asked 3 times in a row. Military merit points are actually a type of points, and their uses are the same as ordinary points, but they cannot be obtained by selling crystal cores and various spiritual herbs and elixirs in the resource point exchange centers in Guangming City and Garrison City number 123. Quote, there is only one way to obtain military merit points, and that is to hunt ferocious beasts of 5th level and above. After confirmation by our Guangming City military, they will be directly distributed to your points account by our Guangming City military. Zhongzhan raised his hand again and asked, can I get 50 million military merit points for every time I kill a 5th level overlord? Yes, but no. Strictly speaking, every time you kill a 5th level low-level beast overlord, you can get 50 million military merit points. And a 5th level mid-level beast overlord can get 90 million points. The 5th level top grade is 130 million. Zhongzhan stopped listening to what he said later. Because, after getting his affirmative answer, Zhongzhan's whole person was completely wrapped in regret. He thought of the 4 ferocious beast overlords he had killed during the day. 50 million points for 1 head. 4 heads, add up to 200 million points. Why didn't you tell me earlier? As the saying goes, only when you are in charge do you know that money is too expensive. Before entering the crack world, Zhongzhan always felt that points were easy to earn. Because he casually got over 1 billion points from his freshman and sophomore years. But, he only discovered it when he came to the world of cracks. Points were much harder to earn than he thought. All of a sudden, endless regret swept through Zhongzhan's body. Zhongzhan, what's wrong with you? Everyone noticed Zhongzhan's abnormal state. Hear the words. Zhongzhan quickly came to his senses. Facing the gazes of the 8 of them, Zhongzhan suddenly had an idea flash in his mind. That's right. If we can convince them and take them there. Thinking of this, Zhongzhan's eyes suddenly lit up. Immediately, his mind turned around quickly. Suddenly. Take it into consideration. He suddenly said, I have evidence to prove that I killed this beast overlord, but you have to promise me something. What's up? What? 8 people asked almost simultaneously. Take me there, to a small mountain about 50 kilometers away. Zhongzhan said, reaching out and pointing towards the back. Everyone was stunned at first. Immediately, the 5th level captain of the military asked with a serious face, Zhongzhan, can you take responsibility for what you say? I can. Zhongzhan nodded without hesitation. Well. After looking around, the man said, I wonder if any of you are interested in going there together. 70 kilometers, barely, we have just stepped into the yellow and red buffer zones. Although it is night, but with our 5th level strength, we can still it's relatively safe, not to mention there is a 6th level superpower among us, what do you think? I have no opinion. Actually, I'm also quite curious about how this little 4th level man killed the 5th level overlord. The other 7 people nodded. In that case, let's go. The 5th level ability user from the military looked at Zhang Zan again. Zhang Zan nodded. Soon, accompanied by 8 people, the group quickly headed northwest. All the way, smooth and smooth. This is normal. After all, in their team, there are 7 5th level superpower users and 1 6th level superpower user. In this formation, unless they encounter 3 or 4 6th order totem level ferocious beasts, the 9 of them can completely walk sideways. This does not include the premise that Zhao Xuan came from the Demon University and was accepted as a direct disciple by the 9th level Imperial Cultivator who is the current principal of the Demon University. As a proud man who came out of the Demon University. As the personal disciple of the 9th level Emperor. Although Zhao Xuan is only at the 5th level of perfection. But, her strength is absolute. There is absolutely more than meets the eye. She definitely has the ability to fight across levels. Not to mention, although it is 70 or 80 kilometers away from Garrison City number 1, it belongs to the yellow and color buffer areas. But, this is the yellow and color buffer area near Kyushu. Juzhou has hundreds of thousands of super-powered elite soldiers stationed in Guangming City and Garrison City number 123, and even the 9th level Emperor has at least 5 of them permanently stationed there. Just ask, how dare the 6th order totem level ferocious beasts on the ferocious beast side dare to appear so close to Kyushu City? It is different from the 5th level. Totem level ferocious beasts of the 6th level, the energy fluctuations emitted from their bodies are simply too great. As ferocious beasts, unlike humans, they are not good at controlling their own energy fluctuations. So, each 6th order totem level ferocious beast is equivalent to a moving superheat source. The energy fluctuations emanating from their bodies can be felt as far away as dozens of kilometers away. This makes them even less likely to appear in areas close to Kyushu. All the way, junior brother, tell me clearly, did you kill that ferocious beast overlord? Zhao Xuan, who was next to Zhang Zan, asked Zan in a low voice. It was indeed me who killed him. If there was no reward of 50 million military merit points for killing the 5th level ferocious beast overlord, Zhang Zan might just let them have some doubts because he was too lazy to explain so many reasons. But, now that he knows that killing a 5th level low-grade ferocious beast overlord can get 50 million military points as a reward, how could Zhang Xuanwen let these 5,000 cities slip away from his hands? No. More than 50 million. Counting the 4 5th level ferocious beast overlords he killed at dusk, that's a total of 5. 1 head is 50 million, 5 heads is 250 million. 250 million, although it is not a lot for Zhang Zan who needs to improve the abilities of 3 devil fruits at the same time. But, you need to know, a 3rd order perfect crystal core, top. You can only redeem 250,000 points at most. 250 million words. He would have to kill 1,000 of them. Even if Zhang Zan hunted 1,000 beasts that reached the limit of 3rd level perfection from morning to night, he would definitely not be able to kill them in less than 4 or 5 days. Although a 4th level low-grade crystal core can be exchanged for 1 million points. But, if Zhang Zan wants to hunt down the ferocious beast that is the ultimate 4th level low-grade beast, he will continue to explode with all his strength. With Zhang Zan's current physique, if he exploded with all his strength 5 or 6 times, his energy would be drained. If you wait for your physical strength to recover naturally, you will definitely not be able to recover within an hour or 2. But if you want to recover quickly, you must drink at least 4th level low-grade spiritual liquid. 1 bottle sells for 25W. If you want to fully recover, you must drink 2 bottles at one go, which is a 500,000 point expenditure. The gain outweighs the loss. So, the reason why Zhang Xuankai would rather expose his new trump card, the Crystal Core Bomb, to get the 250 million points. After all, trump cards are the least valuable to Zhang Zan, a wall-mounted person with a system. Zhang Zan, haven't you arrived where you want to go? After walking forward for a while, the 5th level superpower from the military couldn't help but ask. We're here, it's the hill in front of us. Zhang Zan pointed to the bare mountaintop a few hundred meters away and said. Hear the words. Everyone subconsciously cast their gaze over. After taking a look at the bare mountaintop, the 8 of them always felt that the situation on that mountaintop seemed a bit familiar. The first impression that the mountain gave them was light. Nothing at all. There are no trees, no weeds, no life. The environment around the place where the ferocious beast overlord died is exactly the same. Think of this. The 8 people were stunned for a moment. An extremely bold and absurd guess suddenly emerged in their minds. Could it be? Zhao Xuan swallowed her saliva, stared at the bare mountain in front of her, and murmured, "Senior brother, isn't there the body of the 5th level ferocious beast overlord on this mountain?" "Yes, senior sister, how do you know? Could it be that you have already used your mental power to detect it?" "But isn't mental power detection only able to detect living creatures?" Zhang Zan nodded matter-of-factly, and then said in confusion. "Gulu." Zhao Xuan swallowed another mouthful of saliva, and then said, "Junior, the ferocious beast overlord on the top of the mountain was killed by you, right?" "Yes." Zhang Zan nodded matter-of-factly and said, "But senior sister, you are wrong about one thing. There was not just one ferocious beast overlord that died on the mountain, but 4 in total." "What? 4 heads? Real or fake?" Exclamations suddenly sounded. These exclamations are just the beginning. 10 seconds later. Wait until everyone quickly reaches the top of the mountain. When everyone saw the 4 bloody bodies scattered on the top of the mountain, they all had holes in their chests, which were exactly the same as the way the ferocious beast overlord they had seen died. After seeing the corpse of the ferocious beast overlord, the 8 of them were immediately stunned. Sao. 4 overlord level ferocious beasts actually died here. This. For a while, 8 people were confused. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Zhao Linwan and the other 8 were stunned for more than 10 seconds before they came back to their senses. Immediately afterwards, brushing. They all flashed and came to the bodies of the 4 ferocious beast overlords. They stared up and down, observing them carefully. Judging from the toughness of their flesh and blood after death, the energy levels of these 4 overlord-level ferocious beasts during their lifetimes should have been around 3 million, which is the 5th level low grade. They were all killed in an instant, and the moment they were used, it can be inferred from the state of their muscles that the attack that caused their death came very suddenly. Yes, they died without any response at all. Or it is said that before they die, they have no defense. What caused their death should be the 280 to 300 W energy level explosion attack on the trail. Judging from the spiritual power remaining in their bodies, they should have been dead not long ago, at most an hour and a half. After some observation, the 8 people raised their heads one after another. After looking at each other, they began to explain their respective findings and gains. Without any precautions, he died an hour and a half ago. The 8 people murmured in their mouths and cast their eyes towards Zhang Zan. Because they found out, Zhang Zan can satisfy all of the 2 points mentioned above. First of all, there is no defense. Zhang Zan is a small 4th level low-ranking person. How can the 4 5th level ferocious beast masters be prepared against him? Secondly, it's an hour and a half. After conversion, it coincides with Zhang Zan's time. Is it possible that these 4 beasts and the overlord of the ferocious beast just now were really killed by this kid Zhang Zan? The extremely absurd and ridiculous speculation from before once again sprouted from the bottom of their hearts. But, this is really, too, absurd, ridiculous. A young man who has just entered the 4th level of the lower realm, can he kill 5 fierce beast overlords? Is this a beaver? This is unreasonable. This is obviously unreasonable. This is obviously unscientific. When they thought about Zhang Zan's level and ability, they were extremely confused. Everyone's brows were furrowed, and their foreheads were as wrinkled as the bark of a century-old tree. Then, the 5th level superpower from the military suddenly said, "Zhang Zan, didn't you say that as long as we take you here, you can prove that you killed the ferocious beast overlord? Where is the evidence? Where is it?" Quote. As he spoke, his eyes suddenly turned to the 4 overlord-level ferocious beast corpses on the ground, and said, "If the evidence you are talking about refers to them, then I can only regret to tell you that these cannot be used as evidence." Quote. Of course not, I have other evidence. Zhang Zan shook his head quickly. What about your evidence? The military superpower said and quickly looked around. However, he found nothing but bare stones. The evidence is that I can personally show you the methods I used to kill the 5th order overlord level ferocious beasts. As soon as Yangshi said this, suddenly, brush brush brush. The eyes of the 8 people suddenly lit up, and all of them showed impatient expressions. Immediately, under their embarrassed gazes, Zhongzhan took out the crystal nucleus with a slightly lower energy level, only about 290 W, from the space ring with his backhand. Crystal core, what is he going to do? Zhao Linwan and the other 8 people suddenly became confused. And at this time, Zhongzhan is already preparing to infuse shockfruit and thunderfruit energy into the crystal core. Right now, he suddenly thought of something and raised his hand. What's wrong, Zhongzhan? The 5th level superpower from the military asked quickly. To prove it to you, I may consume this 5th order crystal core later, so I would like to ask, can I be reimbursed afterwards? The 5th order crystal core is worth a lot of money. The amount of points that can be exchanged for a 3rd order crystal core is equivalent to its energy level. A 3rd order crystal core with an energy level of 12 W can be redeemed for 12 W points. A 3rd order crystal core with an energy level of 20 W can be redeemed for 20 W points. The amount of points that can be exchanged for a 4th level crystal core is twice that of its level. A 4th order crystal core with an energy level of 25 W can be redeemed for 50 W points. A 4th order crystal core with an energy level of 100 W can be redeemed for 2 million points. As for the 5th order crystal nucleus, 4 times. Yes, the amount of points that can be exchanged for a 5th level crystal core is 4 times that of its level. That is to say, the 290 W energy level crystal core in Zhongzhan's hand can be exchanged for 11.60 W points. If it was all in vain, Zhongzhan was more or less reluctant to give up. His body was already a bit overwhelmed. Although there was spiritual fluid to help restore physical strength and energy, although the green dragon fruit provided extremely powerful recovery power, even though Zhongzhan hid in his rough skin every time he detonated the crystal core bomb, behind the thick beast. But, after all, his body still suffered from a lot of hidden injuries. So, he didn't want to find a 5th level ferocious beast and blow it up when he was proving himself just to get back his money. So, Zhongzhan then paid attention to the word, reimbursement. Reimbursement, how could it be possible? The 5th level superpower from the military shook his head and said again, however, I am willing to personally bear the cost for you to prove that you can indeed kill the 5th level overlord level ferocious beast. That's what I've been waiting for. When Zhongzhan heard this, he suddenly felt happy. Since someone is willing to reimburse his losses, there is no problem. Then, Zhongzhan was once again ready to pour the energy of shockfruit and thunderfruit into the crystal core. However, he stopped again and raised his hand. What happened again? The 5th level superpower from the military frowned. This move of mine feels a bit like dying together. It means that when I burst out with that power later, I myself will also be affected, so. Zhongzhan weakly turned his attention to his cheap senior sister Zhao Linwan and said, Senior sister, you must protect me. Don't worry, leave it to me. Zhao Linwan promised, patting her chest. I can rest assured that. Zhongzhan breathed a sigh of relief. Subsequently, under the bright gaze of everyone, he took a deep breath. After being mentally prepared, in vivo, shockfruit and thunderfruit abilities are activated quietly. The energy of the 2 fruits quickly flowed down Zhongzhan's right arm and poured into the crystal core held in the palm of his right hand. That moment, the energy within the crystal core suddenly became chaotic. Next second, before anyone could react, what exactly did Zhongzhan do? Brush. Zhongzhan had already thrown the crystal core violently. Immediately afterwards, Zhongzhan quickly rushed behind Zhao Xuan and shouted, Senior sister, defend quickly. Zhao Xuan subconsciously activated her superpower and wrapped herself in Zhongzhan. And at the same time, in the crystal core that was thrown out by Zhongzhan for more than 10 meters, the 2 energies, which were interfered by the shockfruit and thunderfruit energy and became extremely chaotic, collided together. 290 W, 320 W, 350 W, 380 W, 435 W. In an instant, the energy level of the crystal nucleus has suddenly skyrocketed from 290 W to 435 W. Then, under everyone's disbelieving gaze, boom! The crystal core exploded violently. In an instant. Countless white lights bloomed from it, illuminating the entire sky instantly. Immediately afterwards, woo 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 woo, woo 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 woo. Along with the howling wind, a terrifying shock wave swept out. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of everyone. Tap 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 tap, tap 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 tap. The two low-level 5th-level superpowers who came with them were on alert because Zhang Xuanxia seemed to be up to something. They were still under the shock wave of this evil cloth, and they stumbled back dozens of steps before reluctantly stopping. After the explosion, the scene suddenly fell silent. There was silence, incomparable silence. It was so quiet that you could even hear the roars and roars of the ferocious beasts 1,000 meters away. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. After a short silence, everyone came to their senses belatedly. They looked at the huge pit in front of them, and their minds couldn't help but recall the scene where the crystal core exploded just now. I am Cao, I am Cao, I am Cao, I am Cao, I am Cao. Everyone in their hearts called out to me. Everyone involuntarily widened their eyes. Everyone opened their mouths involuntarily. Shocked, unbelievable, unbelievable. Emotions like this filled their minds instantly. At this moment, in their minds, apart from the extremely shocked emotions, there was only 2 words: crazy. Crazy, crazy, right. This kid named Zhang Zan, this kid who is only a 4th-level low-grade kid, can actually explode with a 5th-level power. Am I crazy, or is the world crazy? Or, am I getting old? The 8 people, whether it was the 6th-level superpower or Zhang Zan's cheap senior sister, their faces were full of doubts about life at this moment. In this silence, a weak and faint voice suddenly sounded. This should be enough to prove what I said, right? Hear the words. Everyone was shocked and came to their senses. Brush, brush, brush. Eyes as wide as duck eggs focused on Zhang Zan. Enough, enough. Facing Zhang Zan's gaze, the 5th-level superpower with military background nodded quickly. Then these 4 beasts, as well as the military merit points reward of the previous 5th-level ferocious beast overlord, I should be able to get it, right? Zhang Zan asked eagerly. No problem, absolutely no problem. The 5th-level military superpower looked absent-minded and answered Zhang Zan's question. Because, at this moment, he was still immersed in deep shock. No way, because Zhang Zan's performance just now was so exaggerated. In this world, although there are often successful cross-level battles. However, most of these cases of successful cross-level battles occurred among the 3 low-level ability users, 1st level, 2nd level, and 3rd level. Middle. After all, the energy level difference between 1st, 2nd and 3rd level superpowers is very small. There is a small part left, although it occurs at intermediate or even high levels. However, they are basically the kind of cross-level battles that can only cross a small level within the same large level. For example, the 4th order low grade defeats the 4th order mid grade, the 4th order mid grade defeats the 4th order high grade, the 4th order high grade defeats the 4th order perfection, and so on. If you are a little bit more evil, you can cross 2 small levels. For example, the 4th level low level can defeat the 4th level high level, the 4th level mid-level can defeat the 4th level consummation, and the 4th level high level can defeat the 5th level low level. Even the most evil genius can only cross 3 small steps at most. This is already the limit. The limit of limits. And what about Zhang Zan? What did he do? What did he just do? Even in the green dragon form, his energy level is only 29W, which is equivalent to a 4th level low-level superpower user. And the movement he just caused was comparable to that of a 5th level low-grade person. It directly spanned an entire large step. This is no joke. This is no joke. What, do you think Zhang Zan used external force? Is external force not a force? Anyway, this kid Zhang Zan seemed to have done something to a 5th level low-grade crystal core just now. The energy in the chaotic crystal core was able to create such a big movement, right? Etc., etc., etc. Crystal nucleus, crystal nucleus, crystal nucleus. The energy level of that crystal core doesn't seem to even reach 300W, right? But the energy level when the crystal core exploded just now was a full 435W. An increase of 50%. An increase of 50%. This is just a 5th order low-grade crystal core. If all crystal nuclei can be detonated like this. I am Sao. 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 Think of this. Hiss. Everyone took a sharp breath of air. Next, everyone looked at Zhongzhan and suddenly became excited. Brush. Next, when Zhongzhan saw the 5th level military superpower, he suddenly took out a 5th level mid-grade crystal core with an energy level of 6 million and stuffed it into Zhongzhan's hand with enthusiasm. Middle. Under Zhongzhan's confused gaze, he said, "This is the reimbursement I promised you just now." Hear the words. Zhongzhan's eyes suddenly lit up. A 290W energy level crystal nucleus was replaced with a 600W energy level crystal nucleus. This time, you will make a lot of money. Just when Zhongzhan was quietly rejoicing, the 5th level superpower from the military suddenly asked with bright eyes, "Zhongzhan, using the method of detonating the crystal core just like that. Did it have any bad influence on you?" Yes, Zhongzhan nodded. Hearing this, a deep look of regret suddenly appeared on the man's face. My strength is too weak, my physique is still too weak, and the method of detonating the crystal core just now consumes a lot of my physical strength. A 5th level low grade or even a 4th level perfect crystal nuclear, every time I try to detonate it, it will drain the spiritual energy from my body, like 1002 net drains. Zhongzhan sighed. Is that all? The 5th level superpower user from the military stared and asked. Kindness. Zhang Xuanggong nodded. The next second, Zhang suddenly felt a sinking feeling. Looking down, Zhongzhan found that he had 3 more 5th level low grade crystal nuclei in his hand, as well as a bottle of 5th level spiritual liquid. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. Zhongzhan looked up in confusion. Zhongzhan, can you please demonstrate to me the method you used to detonate the crystal core just now? But let me declare in advance that I will record the entire process and then hand it over to us. Ming City Military, if your method of detonating crystal cores can be developed in depth in the future, for our Guangming City Military, it can greatly alleviate the monthly White Moon Beast tide. The loss of our military's troops, no, he said, shook his head suddenly, and continued, not only for our Guangming City Military, but also for the other 2 armies responsible for guarding the cracks in different time and space, it will also be of great benefit. Facing Qicheng's gaze, Zhongzhan suddenly smiled. Soon, he nodded without hesitation. No problem, of course no problem. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.